Folks, welcome to an all new So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Saturday episode. We are doing a Real Housewives of Orange County recap of this week's insane episode. I am just right off the bat. I'll tell you, I'm not feeling well as usual, but I got the flu shot and the booster shot yesterday. And if you listen to the Salt Lake recap, I was feeling, I was like, oh God, it was like 1 a.m. I was like, I feel horrible. And I feel like I have like a low grade fever, and I'm just very fluish right now, which is, I guess, kind of how you're supposed to feel. So, what better time than to talk about the Real Housewives of Orange? When you feel a little nauseous and potentially feverish, that's Real Housewives of Orange County, baby. How are you guys doing? Is it a good weekend thus far? Um, these weeks go faster and faster, and it is it's just like a mix. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys. I sometimes think of everybody out there and what you guys are doing, and I'm like on this chair in front of a mic watching these shows, talking about these shows. Dude, if you haven't, check out the Salt Lake City recap. I thought that was especially, it's always good for me when I start just like, there was one moment, I don't even know where it was in the Salt Lake City recap, where I just started laughing hysterically, not at anything I said or did, obviously, but it was, I think it's that realization I have sometimes when it's late and you realize this is your job, and your Salt Lake City especially is just so wacky and wackadoodle, as Emily Simpson says, and all of the things. Like Orange County is completely, it's a completely different animal. I think Orange County and Salt Lake are both having fantastic seasons thus far, but they're just really different shows. Salt Lake City obviously has these real issues in them, but it's surrounded by this bizarreness. It's all just bizarre. It is like one large fever dream set in a snowy background. And you just like, wait, Meredith Marks is wearing ski goggles as she's like creating the formula for bath bombs in her kitchen. What? And Orange County is great, but it's like deep trauma with Orange County. Like these are relationships that have gone on forever. I mean, the Shannon and the John and the Alexis of it all, the Tamra. And then this week, Tamra brings in the FBI of it all against Ryan, which activates Jenn. And there's just a lot of darkness. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it, but it's just a completely different feeling. I'm still able to laugh at moments in Salt Lake, whereas in Orange County, there are total things we're going to laugh about today, but it is overall where you're just like, oh shit, man, this is truly a haunted house, truly a haunted house. Let's see here, some things that I was going to talk about before we start. Uh, Okay, yeah, Tamra. I had Tamra on the podcast. I I was going to bed, or I was trying to go to bed, and I couldn't fall asleep because I think of the shots, and I was just feeling bad. And Glenny Linux, he's a listener of the show, and he's a Patreon member. What's up, dude? He DM'd me, I think on Twitter, and it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was just scrolling on TikTok trying to fall asleep. And don't say, oh, you shouldn't look at the screen if you're trying to fall asleep. That's how I sleep. That's my process. But he goes, oh my God. And I just wrote back Tamra because I realized I had just released it. And he was like, yeah, wow. And let me try to break it down for you guys, or at least from my perspective. So I didn't go after that interview. But I will say, once I got it, I was nervously excited about it. And I was trying to be optimistic about it because, first off, I was just shocked that Tamara would do it in the first place. Now, this is all done through Bravo. This is all done through Bravo, and it's part of, like, their media. They'll have certain housewives available. Now, usually Dylan from the amazing Bravo podcast for Betches Mention It All will take that, and it'll be in person. But I know they're redesigning the Betches studios from what I hear. And so usually so it had to be remote. So I had the opportunity to do it, and I'm not going to pass on that. No. And so then it was like this fear of, oh my God, is she how is she gonna give me shit for all of my commentary? Is she even aware of who I am? Who knows? I mean, I think so, but who knows? But also I like to approach interviews this way. It's just like a normal person. Like I always try to treat it with respect, professionalism, kindness. And I think those you want everybody to feel comfortable. Like I don't want anybody to come on here, and that's just not in my nature to have somebody come on and then just like flip and bash them for 30 minutes. You have a very limited window of time to talk with them. And of course, I mean, at the end of that, I wanted another 30 minutes because she was so open, or at least her perspective on things, that I was like, man, I would love to get further into all of this. And if you heard that interview, which I know a lot of people were like, well, I'm not listening to this. Oh, it's I totally understand that sentiment. I get that. And I'm not trying to change it. I'm not saying, oh my God, Tamra's the one. Like, listen, I completely feel I the Shannon of it all is I see it a very, very certain way. Tamra does not see it that way. And, you know, what Tamra was alluding to and what we talk about in that interview is what makes it on camera and what doesn't. And all of the things that we don't see off camera, real relationships of Shannon calling Tamra and what Tamra was saying. Shannon would call Tamra drunk. And I even brought up the ring camera videos. And I'm not arguing any of that stuff. But if it doesn't make it on the show, it just has Tamra coming off as somebody that is persistently trying to take somebody down when they might need to be held in a hug even tighter, if that makes sense. And I also mentioned to Tamra, I said, you are wired differently. Just like I talk about it on, you are wired differently. Tamra is a go, like she goes and gets it. She doesn't back down. She's tenacious. She's not afraid of a fight. All of these things. Shannon is a completely different person. They are not the same. So whereas I don't worry about Tamara in certain situations, of course I worry about Shannon. I think we all do. I think that's what we're seeing. And even she said at that Gina's dinner at that fancy place where the library shelves, it was like hidden behind the library bookshelf, and Tamara was like, lie, lie, lie. And she's saying that Shannon said something really horrible in that moment that didn't make it to the cut. And I'm like, but Tamara, if it didn't make the cut, then like we don't know anything about it. But even having said all of that, I was just trying to like think, hey, is there any room for reconciliation? Is there any room? And I think at the end, I was like, well, guess we're not announcing a Trace Amigas reunion today, which I'm very excited. I'm gonna go see my buddy Doug Buden and Vicki and Shannon live next this upcoming Thursday. I think I'm gonna go see their live show, which I'm really excited about. But I don't know. I do believe in forgiveness. I do believe in I want the best for everybody. I do want to I mean, I enjoy people fighting on TV. I don't enjoy it in my personal life. And I will say I completely understand why Tamara is as successful as she is at podcasting. I mean, she so great. And there were so many little moments in that interview that I geeked out on too. Like I saw Eddie in the corner, like you could see his shoulder in the beginning when I first logged on. And I was like, is that Eddie? And he was like, hey, and so I got to talk, little things about Eddie with him in the background. And man, it made me want to have him on to talk about things. We had Bryn from Real Housewives of New York make an appearance because all the Roni ladies were there doing press as well. And so as a Bravo fan, that's all exciting. And I thought Tamara handled it really professionally too. I thought it was for like 29 minutes, I thought it was pretty good. And it is interesting. I don't read tons of comments because if it's really good, I'm like, if it's really good comments, I don't even read those because if you believe those, you have to believe the bad ones as well. But I'm always more apt to believe the bad ones. But I did see a couple on the YouTube and it was just like, I can't believe you platformed her. I can't believe, listen, Tamara doesn't need a platform. Tamara has one of the biggest podcasts out there. I think Watch What Crappens is number one. And then they're in that top 4 or 5, or maybe even 2. So she doesn't need a platform, but I'm sorry for what I do. I would always I was trying to think of the ones I wouldn't take, the ones I absolutely wouldn't take. And I've told you guys through the years, it would be very hard for me to talk to Jax. It would be very hard at this point for me to talk to Tom Sandoval. Those would be kind of very dicey for me, just personally. Tamra, I felt, a little similarly, but I also thought, oh, wow, what an opportunity to talk about this week's episode, which I saw in advance. And I was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. And it also is an example of Tamra just going so hard in the paint, taking down somebody else. And we got out of her in that interview. We didn't get out. I mean, she was forthcoming about, because I said, hey, did you know going into this dinner at Katie's that you were going to bring up Ryan and the FBI? Because in the episode, you say, we've known about this for 6 months. We've known this has been, and then it makes you imagine what all of these housewives, all the secrets that they're keeping for each other. And I said, did you know you were going to bring it up, or was it the martini talking? Because we saw Tamra downing a couple strong martinis, and she's like, yeah, it was the martini. And you could tell that Eddie obviously did not want her to bring it up. But like, once that's on the show, now it's able to become a storyline. Once you bring that darkness into the light of these cameras, you're able to then talk about it, which I think we are going to see, and what Tamra said we are going to see for the rest of the season, including when they pick back up cameras. So it was really interesting. And it's, Jenn Pedranti, I love Jenn Pedranti. I think she has a kindness about her that I love. I love that she's open and honest about not knowing what the F she's doing. She's having real conversations with her son. We see her dealing with the loss of her marriage, and then with Ryan. And Ryan seems like, they seem like they have this good relationship, but obviously Ryan is in some really bad stuff. I mean, he's just obviously in some really bad stuff. And I do wonder, and this is the thing, is that they can only be so honest about this, especially when it starts involving the legal system, is that I can only imagine what Jenn is going through right now, if even 30% of this is true. It's got to be intense. And that's where Tamra will sometimes, or not sometimes, all the time, get herself in trouble, because it's one of those Shannon things. Like, Tamra puts that foot pedal to the metal because she believes that Ryan wronged her on this podcast and then also on Instagram. And I do believe, once you get in this arena, and that's why sometimes the men of the housewives should really take a back seat, because Ryan seems to like to play the housewives game a little bit, likes to throw back barbed posts. He's, oh, no, I didn't mean to do. No, you took that as that. No, that's not what of course he meant it disparaging, because that's what he's seen all of these ladies do to each other. But if you do that to Tamra, it has been proven she is going to come back 10 times harder. So I wonder, in retrospect, if Ryan does regret any of that. We also got to talk about Katie. I still was confused about Gina. I don't know. It was pretty decent interview. I got to say, she made it very, very easy for me. And I just wanted to explain how these things work. And that, you sometimes don't pass up those opportunities. I was even curious, just as a fan of the show, to talk to her. So that was that. Go check it out. See if you like it. It's also on our YouTube channel if you want to see the video, because she was all done up. And also, it was 6:30 in the morning, you guys, because she was on New York time, and I was, like I said, the Salt Lake recap, I was like, I think that happened. I'm not sure. I remember finishing and just sitting there for 5 minutes going, did that just happen? Wow. And I will say, and I'm hoping to have Shannon and Vicki on at some point as well. I mean, I would love to have them on. I would love to be able to have those conversations. And for me, I always think of it as how many at bats do you have? I'm not a sports guy, but that's hey, every time you get a step to the plate, you get to practice your swinging. You get to practice. You get to see how you can connect with that ball. Or if you whiff completely wildly and you just strike out again and again. Because I've had my really bad interviews. I've had my really bad days and all of this. And I have to remind myself to try to learn something from it. And so I was kind of like, wow, that went way better than I expected it to go, because I didn't know what to expect. And she was, and like I said, somebody said in the comment section, oh, it's her. She said she was open, but she's saying all kind of BS. Well, but that's Tamra's perspective. It's up to us, the audience, to parse through that and say, okay, does she really believe that, or what? It's up for us to decide what we think of all of that. Like, so is Tamra living her truth? And will she ever be able to actually listen to somebody and say, wait, you're going too hard? Because when she's going too hard, you also can't explain away that she has all of this success. Like, like she's really, the podcast is going great. Like I said on the pod, I don't think Orange County, she'll definitely be asked back. I mean, she's not going to not be asked back to Orange County. She's somebody that actually makes moves. Now, like I said, that's always not my favorite character in these shows because I like somebody that's just like out there, just living out loud, not really thinking about these moves. And Tamara sometimes feels like she's playing like, I don't want to say chess, but maybe like checkers of some sort and making these really big housewives moves. It just sometimes they can come off like dastardly where you're like, oh, damn. But also she seemed like she likes to have a laugh and I like to have a laugh as well. And so, yeah, that's the Tamra of it all. I had talked to Jeff Lewis. I was on his show on Wednesday and I said, oh, Jeff, I think it was during a break. I was like, I'm interviewing Tamra tomorrow. Do you have any advice? Because I'm a little nervous because I have my really strong opinions about Tamra. And he was like, yeah, that's a tough one. Like that's a tough one. And you gotta really be careful about any kind of language where it comes off accusatory. Well, you did this, or like you've got to really be careful of those things. And I was so appreciative of that advice and his perspective because he's been in so many uncomfortable interviews. And he's somebody that I think is a lightning rod where people have really strong feelings about him. So it was great to get his perspective. So I was happy it went okay. But I also knew that even if it went okay, once you guys hear it or watch it, you're going to have your own opinions and you're going to be angry potentially like that. And by the way, I think in some ways it's the best compliment you could give me is to be angry, to be like, how could you do that? It's like, wow, that means you really do care about the show and me. And I hope you can understand. So I'm not apologizing for any of that, but I do want to, I think that is interesting in terms of, yeah, like this is a two-person job. It's me and it's you guys. Like I'm the loudmouth and you guys are listening to me. So we're kind of in this together. So it is interesting to hear how people feel about it. But as somebody that is really inquisitive and somebody that loves these shows, I could have kept going. Like I wasn't in a rush to get out of there. I was like, wow, once she was like actually talking, I have pages, you guys, and pages of notes and questions that I knew I would never get to, but I just wanted to have things at the ready just in case. So, anyways, I thought it was pretty decent. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. Don't let me know too much, but let me know if you guys liked it. And I'm not, like I said, I just hope that these interviews you can go, okay, well, I think he presented this in the best possible light. Maybe it's not changed my way of thinking at all because my way of thinking isn't completely changed. I mean, I was like, I just wish you could be different around Shannon. And I fully don't understand from what we've seen why it is the way it is. And I don't take anything away from her in terms of those ring videos. And I said, have you seen the ring videos, Tamra? And she's like, I said, it seems like you have. And she's like, no, I haven't, but I've been completely described what's in them. And she was kind of thinking like those really exist. And I'm like, I don't doubt they exist. It was a toxic relationship. They were like drinking. Of course they exist. It's just then using them as what I kind of feel as like this does feel like blackmail, which she really shot down immediately and didn't go too deeply into it. But to me, I'm like, that's what it just seems blackmail-y. So who knows? Go check it out for yourselves, and then we'll be able to scream about it this next couple of hours with the OC recap. Okay, let's get into this. Real Housewives of Orange County, season 18, episode 12, and this is called The Elephant in the Room. Is Tamra the elephant? Is that what we're saying? Is Tamra the elephant? Oh, the elephant in the room is the Ryan FBI thing, right? That's the elephant that they're all not speaking about. Now, the description that Peacock gives us is Tamra and Jenn try to find common ground between their men. Wait, who is trying to find common? Did I miss the finding common ground? I mean, Shannon left the but sorry, Tamra left the scene of the crime. Tamra left. Tamra and then kind of slipped when she was like opening the door, which I'm sure she was like, God damn it. Why did you have to trip? You knew a camera was on you. But I always have, and I had this as a note to talk to her about, and it just didn't happen. But I was just like, come on. Like, I have really strong feelings about housewives or any Vanderpumpers leaving a scene. Like, you should be fined if you leave a scene. There's got to be like a $500 fine if you leave the scene. Like, Tamra, why leave? Stay there. Like, get into it. Eddie stayed. Like, I want, let's, finish this. You just swept the leg, sweep the leg. Like, come on. Let's see where we go from here. So it was a little frustrating in that sense. But so last week we were over at Jenn, Pedranti, and Ryan's place, and that's the episode where Tamra peed on the cement. They were playing adult Jenga, and Fun Lexi threw one of the Jenga blocks into a gas fire. We had Lexi freaking out. Emily was very sad at Heather. Heather was getting defensive. And then Emily ended it with just fully unleashing on Alexis and like, you're a friend. Go home and fuck John Janssen more, which, come on, LOL. Amazing. And so I was like, wow, there's no way that all of these ladies are going to be talking to each other the next day, but leave it to the housewives because we open up at this like Mayfair or Mayfield coffee place and we have Gina, Emily, and Tamra in this scene together. I'm like, no way. Because Tamra was kind of like fully on Heather's side, it looked like, and Alexis as well. And Emily and Gina being a good friend with Emily, just left with her. And Tamra has a cup of coffee. She's like, oh my God, my throat hurts a little bit. What was last night with Heather? Yeah? Huh? Oh no, Gina was like, what was last night with Heather? And Tamara's like, yeah. And Emily goes, well, we were talking about the fashion show. I thought this is the perfect opportunity to just bring it up. And we flash back to Emily and Gina at that Sonoma fashion show talking about this dress because Emily was having, just a moment where she was feeling really bad about herself. And then to that dinner party where Emily tells Heather, I didn't even feel good in the dress because Alexis was in the same dress. And then Heather goes, oh, yeah, let me make you feel bad to put you in a dress. I put you in a dress because you're fucking hot. And Emily's like, now you're being mean, Heather. Emily says, honestly, it could have been a very heart-to-heart moment, right? And Tamra goes, well, I apologize for jumping on the bandwagon. So Tamra gets the apology out of, well, let me just apologize for jumping on the bandwagon. Glad we could meet for coffee, right? Shannon says, I thought it was something totally different. And Emily's like, well, it didn't help that Alexis was like screaming. And Gina was like, all she said was, you put me in the same dress as Alexis. And we flash back to that night where Alexis is like, I don't give a shit what you say. You think you can get louder? You think you can get louder? And Emily's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And Emily in this scene goes, she's a lunatic. And she's like, she kept seeing yesterday multiple times. So much is going to come out tomorrow. The sun will come out tomorrow. Fun Lexi said that tomorrow she'll take down Shannon. Okay, so then we flash back to that night, and Alexis, I don't know if this is a scene we saw last week where she's like, it looks like she's like on the ground, and she goes, my heart does feel for Shannon, but Johnny J has lost everything, and things are going to come out tomorrow that is, I don't want. I'm sorry. Listen, I know we're in like this election cycle and we have all this shit thrown our way, but come on, we just like when you see it right here, like she literally is like, I love Shannon, but John has been completely destroyed. You're never going to have me believe John is completely destroyed when he's doing the best he probably ever has. He's found the love of his life. He's getting the $75K back from Shannon. And you're on the ground saying there's more to come. Like it's like so ominous. You're like, Freddy Krueger's coming tomorrow. Like, what do you mean something's coming tomorrow? And Heather's like, do you mean the videos? And then we go to the coffee shop scene and Tamra goes, he's retaliating. That's what he's doing. He's retaliating. What is he retaliating for? Like, what did Shannon do to him in this cycle of fighting that he's retaliating? Or is he retaliating for something from like 2 years ago? That's the confusing thing. And as great as this season is, I just feel like we are missing so many crucial pieces of information. Gina goes, it's going to be a dogfight. That's for sure. And then we get like, we get a flash forward thing and it says 8 hours later on the screen. Now, when a screen goes to black and like text comes up like 2 days later or 8 hours later, you know you're in for something that's going to knock you off your coal mining ass. You're like, oh, 8 hours later, what do we got here? And we see Tamra with her phone, and Tamra goes, holy shit. And we see her phone. It looks like she's picked up a call from Shannon Beador. And Shannon goes, she's crying. She's like, my emotion level right now is fucking panicking. What the fuck are you doing? But that's all we see of that scene. So we almost think they're in a conversation together. And it turns out that Shannon actually just butt dialed Tamra. And Tamra let us know on the interview that Shannon has been known, she's a big butt dialer. She butt dials all the time. So this, because I was like, come on, what are the chances that you have a camera on you and just Shannon just butt dials in that moment? But Tamra was like, no, and they said, keep it going, keep filming. So, but man, what an unlucky butt dial, but not unlucky because it does make you empathize and sympathize with Shannon even more because this is what I even said to Tamra. I said, but Tamra, as a viewer, you see that scene. How does your heart not break? Because this person is going through something real and emotional. It's very real and it just doesn't stop. There's a lot of people in this world that'll do that. That'll gang up on somebody, that will really like just persist because they feel they have been done wrong. They don't have all the facts, but they are pushing through and they're trying to destroy your life. I've seen it happen a bunch. I've seen it happen on TV. I've seen it happen in real life. And it's really wild because it's like a dog with a bone. And that's what it feels like with Johnny J and Alexis. And I'm sorry, even though Tamra says that this, Alexis has nothing to do with it, it's just so weird that all of a sudden it got litigious. And we do know because of Jim Bellino, who I'm a huge fan of. Jim, do not sue me. I love you. Is that they've sued people in the past, including Tamra, Shannon, and Heather McDonald. So Alexis knows her way around these kind of things. Now, I don't know if John Janssen is a hugely litigious man and just happily willy-nilly sues, but it is a weird coincidence. On top of, there have been so many press releases. They seem like they have a direct in at People magazine because people have gotten so many exclusives, including this one, including the one that we see in this episode was a People magazine exclusive. Now, that's the other thing too. It's one thing to sue somebody and try to get what you think is your owed. It's another thing to press release it. It's another thing. Now, Tamara on Watch What Happens Live said, well, that's how it is. There's people at the courthouse picking up this information. It doesn't mean they gave it to, but I will say it's another kind of weird coincidence. They do seem to have a very close in with People magazine where they've done a bunch of exclusives, including their engagement. So for me, it's not a stretch to think that they were tipped off People magazine. But I mean, Tamara is right. I do know instances where there are people on all these outlets, including TMZ, that just they pay attention to court filings every day on the lookout for some sort of celebrity nugget in there. But I'm sorry, it just does not look good for John Janssen and Alexis. And like I keep saying, this to me makes John Janssen look worse. If Alexis came on and didn't mention John Janssen, said, hey, I know this is awkward. I'm here to, and just they went about their business and their romance and nothing about the suit, I believe we would have a completely different season. And like I've always said, I think if that didn't happen, Shannon would actually have to talk about the actual night that she did this more. I mean, they've almost helped Shannon in certain ways have people really be able to empathize with her even more because of their actions. I mean, every action truly does have a reaction. And that's what's fascinating to watch that happen in this sort of real time on what they document on this reality show. So we go back to that coffee shop and Gina's like, whatever it is coming out, it's not going to go smoothly. It's kind of like Tamra peeing on Jen Pedranti's cement. It didn't look smooth, but it came out regardless. And I didn't get asked Tam. I had this question just in case the interview did go like super well. I was going to go, hey, Tamra, listen, you did pee on Jen Pedranti's cement. And I do have one final question for you. And this is pretty intense. Feel free not to answer. Why not poop? They would have. Oh man, I'll always regret that. Anyways, Tamra in the scene goes, she's fucked. She's fucked. And, you have Gina and Emily just sitting there going like, kind of light zoiks, like, zoiks, zoiks. What's Shannon going to do? We're just going to keep bashing her. I will say also too, shout out to the editors of Real Housewives of Orange County. Their little, in between scene shots, usually it'll be like you have the sand, you have the ocean, you'll have some surfers, you'll have some joggers. But this one, this episode, they try some weirdly new things. There's one where you came back from commercial and they had two dogs playing, and then they outlined one of the dogs with like white line. Was like, what is this, Keith Haring? What are we doing here? I was like, wait, does that dog come back? Why did we draw a white line around the dog playing with the other dog? It was so confusing, but I kind of loved it at the same time. I was like, yeah, keep me on my toes. Perfect. Anyways, we go into our first scene with Terry Dubrow. Terry, botched Terry Dubrow and Heather Dubrow, the Dubrows. And he is at a doctor's appointment to get his heart checked. And he's going to get his nose fixed as well. He lets Heather know, he goes, hey, lately when I'm dehydrated, I have palpitations on the treadmill. And Heather goes, don't drink it so we can see what the palpitations. And Terry's like, still, I need to pre-op. I wonder if Terry's as good, like a good enough surgeon where he could just do the surgery on himself. I was reading this book this week where this guy, it was in like, this guy was trying to prove, this is a true story of back in the day of trying to be able to put, what was it? Not a stent, but gosh, like a what's it called? A line that you put in the veins, like when they help save your life. But it was like if one could put it directly into one's heart because they thought that would actually cause a heart attack. And this doctor, this crazy doctor, anesthetized himself. And like he was the first person to actually show that you could run a line into the heart. And he did it to himself. He had to trick his colleagues into thinking that he was doing it on one of the colleagues, and he actually did it on himself. That's intense surgery. Terry, think about that for the next season of Botched. Like, if we just have you fixing your own, like Dr. Nassif fixing like things on himself, just like light anesthesia, that's like the new frontier of reality TV. But Terry says, I need to leave here with an EKG. And Heather goes, why do you have to get clearance for surgery? Because you're old? And he's like, what? If you have an electrolyte abnormality, you could have a reaction under anesthesia. If you have a chest problem, you want to make sure the electrical activity of your heart is okay for procedure. This is what, man, when you hear people talk like this, it's like, you're like, oh man, I really blew it at college. Like I really, like I studied theater. I was like, man, could you, like, all you people, if your doctors, yeah, do I have a bunch of doctors listening? Or maybe people that are like with doctors? You got to feel pretty damn good if you're a doc. If you know all of this shit that's going on with the human body, like, oh my God. Let me recommend the book that I was reading this week to you, actually, because I thought it was just fascinating. It's a quick read. And this man, his name's Sebastian Junger, Junger. It's called In My Time of Dying, How I Came Face to Face with the Idea of an Afterlife. And it just came out this year. And Sebastian Junger, if that name sounds familiar, amazing author. He wrote the Perfect Storm. He wrote Into Thin Air, and he also wrote the book, which actually is great if you're watching Salt Lake City and studying Mormons, Under the Banner of Heaven. I believe he wrote that. Wait, is that John Krakauer? Sorry, guys, take it back. I just credited Sebastian Junger for a lot of books that he potentially did not write. You're always going to get the truth here, folks. No, let me now. Oh, I just confused John Krakauer, but Sebastian did write Perfect Storm, right? Yeah, he wrote Perfect Storm. He wrote a book called Tribe. Still really good. Perfect Storm, great book. The other ones, yeah, John Krakauer. Sorry, but I do recommend Under the Banner Heaven by John Krakauer. I just want to remind people that I am feeling feverish and I don't feel great. So yeah, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. Anyways, back to doctors. How amazing would think you would feel like you were walking around like a god. Like you would just diagnose people. You'd be like, oh, that's what's happening. Oh, electrolytes and your heart and blah, blah, blah. I just know that I'm like, I don't feel good. That's it. That's it. So Heather lets us know a couple of months ago, Terry was snoring so badly, it was driving me insane. And we have a flashback of her talking to Terry going, there's only so many times I can hit you to make you roll. And he goes, well, I can't sleep. My breathing is not so great. Maybe I should have Jay fix my septum and lift my tip of my nose. And Terry goes, here's the problem. If I let Jay do this, Paul's going to be so pissed. And that's Paul Nassif, his doctor buddy that he does botched with. And Terry's like, but you know what? It's my nose, Paul. You know, I mean, I want Paul on this to get offended. And I love that this is because Heather, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's aspirational to be wealthy and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we all potentially will sleep next to somebody that just snores completely loudly where you cannot take it. Heather Dubrow stands with all of us. She cannot get sleep at night because this Dubrow is so tired from fixing all of these botched, deformed people that he's like sawing logs. Heather says, I mean, after all these years, Terry with a new nose. I mean, I find it kind of funny. By the way, this is my nose, and there's a bump in it, see? But that's fine. I'm not touching it. Heather Dubrow, salt of the earth, not letting anybody fix the bump in her nose because it makes her relatable. Bump nose, Heather Dubrow, bump nose, Heather Dubrow. And by the way, she says this. I don't see the bump at all. I don't know if it's just because it's such good makeup. I'm like, I can't see no bump. Like, what bump are you talking about? Okay, so they take Terry into this room to get some blood work. And I'm like, oh, wow, are we going to see the whole surgery here? And Terry then just like really creeps me out. He goes, isn't blood just the most beautiful liquid in the world? And I'm like, oh, American Psycho, here we come. He's like, isn't blood just the most beautiful liquid in the world? And Heather goes, you're so rude. And Heather goes, I'm tired, man. And Terry goes, you were drinking, you were up drinking, partying, laughing last night, I assume, hopefully. And Heather goes, I have to say, it was a very full experience. There was like fun and laughter and silliness. And we flash back to the adult Jenga with barking like a dog. And yeah, there was everything. Tamra pissed on cement. And then Heather goes, there were tears. We were arguing. There was a lot. After last year, she lets us know in a talking head, I really have been figuring out who my true friends are. And we have a flashback from last season where Heather is like arguing at a dinner table saying, I am held to a different standard than other people. Yes, I am. I am held to a different standard. And Emily goes, you get to be a jerk. You get to be self-centered, Heather. And we all just have to be like, that's Heather. That's just the way she is. Which, by the way, if you take that Salt Lake City recap, that's exactly kind of what Lisa Barlow was saying. Like, it's me, Lisa Barlow. I'm mid-40s to late 40s, and I'm not changing. Heather says, I don't know what it is with Emily and Gina. It's always 2 steps forward and 1 step back. There's a piece of the puzzle that I don't know. She tells Terry, I've been wanting to talk to Gina about the whole Katie situation. And I'm like, we're still talking about the paparazzi photos? But Heather goes, it's really hard to assimilate all the information because right when I think everything's fine, then it's something else. And Terry is just looking despondent. Like he's just like in the chair getting his blood done, just going, how did I get here? How did I get here? He's completely disassociating. We flash back to 2 episodes ago where Heather tells Gina, you told Katie the only reason you keep me close is because of my real estate connections. And Gina gives one of the best what's ever. She goes, what? Heather tells Terry, I don't know what I need. I just don't. And Terry goes, you have a process that you need to go through when you had a challenge with somebody. You need to hash it out once. You need to hash it out. And we see that earlier in the season with Gina, where Gina says, I fucked up. I'm sorry. And then Terry goes, you need it twice. And then we have Heather in another scene with Gina going, I feel betrayed by you. And then Terry goes 3 times. And then we flash to another scene where Gina goes, we already addressed this, Heather. I apologize to you. Why are you yelling at me, Gina? Heather goes, by the way, that is such an overstatement. We don't hash out things 3 times. And Terry goes, ad nauseum. And he looks at her like kind of intensely, like, ad nauseum. This bump in my nose, ad nauseum. And then Heather goes, all right, you're just being mean now. And I'm like, oh shit, are we getting some real relationship here? She's like, and then Terry goes, oh, so you're just gonna stop talking now, Heather? And she goes, yes. And Terry goes, it's okay. I'm done with it. Terry's like, I don't need this. I got botched. I don't need this. And Terry's like, let's go, seriously. And Heather goes, oh my God, don't do that. And Terry goes, no, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It does. Terry's like, no, I don't need to talk about this. I fucking have millions. Why do I don't need to do this? And so it's like this awkward, and I got to tell you, it is so real. Like you've all been in that relationship where even if you love your partner, you get to that point where you're not seeing eye to eye, and it's just awkwardness. Like, what? You're not going to talk? Well, you're not going to talk? I can't believe you're doing this. What? So you're watching this in real time, and Heather is just clammed up and she's shaking her head. And then some poor intern girl's like, "You guys are done with the bloods, so yeah, you can go." And then Terry on the way out the door, he goes, I mean, you're just starting to talk over me. I don't want to have a conversation. And then Heather goes, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. You guys, my nipples got rock hard. I was like, whole cut glass. I was like, what? Oh God. This is why I'm like, Terry and Heather have a very real relationship. You know, they love each other to pieces, but this is what you're watching here, a real marriage. And then, you guys, we see just a static shot of a hallway, the doctor's hallway, and we get a hot mic moment. And I'm like, oh, dear Lord, you were too good to us. And I just couldn't believe, I was like, Heather is usually, I was like, Heather, this little scene that we're about to talk about is just wild because it also shows you not how consumed, but that Heather is very aware of what she is presenting on camera. And that's interesting because then the show almost has to be this detective of uncovering things, of trying to get to the heart of a situation or show these little real moments. And you can tell that they have this kind of understanding of like, don't do it on camera. Don't do it on camera. Whatever you do, keep it off camera. And I just was even shocked that Heather didn't turn off her mic. Like the mic was still going. And I was like, hell. So in the hallway, she's like, do not admonish me on camera. Don't do that. I don't like that. And then he's like, well, don't come for, don't admonish me on camera. Don't do that. I don't like that. And he's like, well, then don't talk over me. And he's like, let me talk. It obviously wasn't on purpose. And she's just like, don't admonish me. Don't admonish me. And I thought it was a groundbreaking moment. And to me, it almost endeared me to Heather Dubrow more because it's like we want to see those rough edges. We want to see somebody in a real relationship. I mean, it reminded me so much of my mom of like, do not talk back to, like as a kid, do not talk back to me. Like, how dare you talk back to me? Dude, I do not like that. Well, I'm sorry, Mom. You just sometimes it's just do not do that. It is not nice. It is not nice, and I will not have that. So I loved it. So then we cut to them where then they're like fun to bros again, where Terry's like, hey, help me put this gown on my belly. Hey, come on, Heather. And Heather's like, wait, don't, no, don't. He's gonna tape it up anyway. He's got to open it to put your things on. So we're back. We're okay. We're fun to bros again. So a doctor comes in, and Terry's like, hey, what's up, buddy? Just doctor to doctor. And then Heather goes, you're looking good. You're looking good to Terry. I'm like, we're fully back in. He's putting the like little pads on. Another doctor comes in. I mean, I'm sure doctors just want to meet the guy from Botch too. So he's scanning Terry, his keratoid, his arteries. I don't know. It says it looks very stable from last year. And there's like, that's good. That's good. The last time Terry had a medical procedure, it was when they were fixing the hole in his heart from that mini stroke, which he went through last year. And Heather goes, albeit he had the repair and it can happen again. Thank God, but I'm nervous, you know? And then the guy's like, looking at your aorta now, there's no aneurysms, there's no tears, looks very good. Heather says, I've already witnessed a near-death experience. I can't have anything like that again. And then Terry goes, seeing that gives me a heart on. A little creepy doctor joke. Little, yeah, like you get it. Heart. Seeing that gives me a heart on. I was waiting for all the doctors to be like, Terry, you rapscallion, hard on, pervert. We see we see Terry's robe is completely open, and it's just like, Terry, we can see your junk, please. And Heather's like, come on, come on. But anyways, the doctors don't laugh, and he's like, no, you get it. And the doctor's like, we got it. No, we got it, Terry. We got it. So turns out he's going to be good under anesthesia. So that's great. Terry's on the road to recovery. Just don't admonish Heather Dubrow on camera. And then we cut to Ryan and Jenn Pedranti walking down this street, and she almost steps in some dog shit on a tree. And he's like, watch out, honey. And Jen's like, I know they need me around here cleaning up their dog poop. Now, Ryan, this is we get to like kind of like a shopping montage with Ryan. And Ryan, as Jenn lets us know, is a very unique style. Even in this scene, he's wearing like this orange and black checkered shirt, like really nice glasses. Everything seems to be kind of like completely in place. His hair, the whole thing. Like more done up than I would say Jenn Pedranti at times. Now they're at this men's store called the Vault Men. And this is what I'm confused about. Like the Vault Men, like on a good day, back when I would actually shop for clothes, if I went to Express for Men, that was like splurging. I would be like, and you would try to get the 40% off coupons, so you can get a couple button-up shirts, but that was still pricey. I can guarantee you the Vault Men, everything in there, every shirt they're looking at, even the t-shirts are like $300 and up. And so those are those little moments where you're like, wow, it's so weird. Jenn like didn't pay the 25,000 for the rent. She haven't, but like we're dropping like thousands and thousands on Ryan's wardrobe. And I would say it does make you a little curious about like, where is the money coming from? Even though he tells Matt, Katie's husband, later in the episode, the 30 things that he's currently involved in. And I got to tell you, during that scene, the whole time, and I've said this it now just spidey senses go off. It reminds me of that first reunion on Salt Lake when Andy asked what Jen Shaw did. And she just went into something, and I was like, it doesn't make sense, but okay. And we can't help but think there's a similar vibe when somebody is like overcompensating with how many things that they do and what it all entails. And Matt, Katie's husband's face during the scene says it all. He's just like, whatever, man, whatever. So Ryan's like, cool, we're at the Vault Men. All right, let's get in here. It's awesome. And so the lady's like, hey, what's going on? Anything that you see, like, yell at me. And you can tell Ryan's like, I'm going to scream all the time because I like everything. He sees these shirts and he's like, I just like how funky these are. And these shirts look like you had like drank a bunch of Kool-Aid and then you threw up. And that's like the shirt, like just a lot of different colors, a lot happening. And Jenn says Ryan's style is Ryan's style. There's no influencing it. He does his own thing. He's always going to do his own thing. And so she even picks out a kind of a funky shirt and she goes, think Vegas, and holds up this orange monstrosity. And even Ryan goes, it's a little too much, even for me. Even she's like, this is too much for Ryan. She continues on. His style is typically a jean jacket, splatter paint. You had me at splatter paint. We see photos of his his splatter paint jean jacket. I'm like, what is this? Is this like Debbie Gibson, Tiffany era? I'm like, electric youth. When Ryan tries on splatter jean jackets, electric youth. Like anything with splatter. I mean, unless it's like artwork, I'm not in for. He says he likes really tight jeans that he tailors. And then she says, even his t-shirts all have to go to the tailor. Every pair of board shorts gets tailored. Even his underwear, they go to the tailor. His underwear gets tailored, you guys. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, what? What are we tailoring? So you tailor the jeans, what are we tailoring in the undies? Does he like a little more? Does he like it tighter on the package? Does he like a little looser on the package? Is it like, what are we tailoring on the undies? And I was like, this is a whole new level. And I've got to say, there's part of me that probably is a little jealous because I just don't take care of myself in that way. Like, I don't think about tailoring anything. Like, I'm like, it comes how Old Navy tells me it comes. There's no tailoring here. You're lucky if you can find the size that fits and then you call it a day. I just got like a new t-shirt, like a Spider-Man t-shirt at Target the other day because I'm an idiot. And then I was just like, imagine me going to a tailor and going, could you tighten this up? This Target t-shirt, could you tighten it up a little bit for me? Anyways, the producer even's like, "Wait, seriously, Jenn? Even the underwear?" And she's like, "Yeah, seriously." He comes out, he has this tight t-shirt on, and he's like, "I like this. I like this." Ryan obviously has a good physique, and they're like, "Okay, let's see the jacket on it." And the lady, the shop owner's like, "This is the piece de resistance." And it's like this jacket with like the collar flipped up. It looks cool. I mean, anyways, they keep trying on other shirts. Some are a little too tight. I just wonder how much money we're spending so far. So the shop owner goes, "Hey, wait a second. You guys know Tamara and Eddie, right?" And Ryan's like, "Yeah." And the lady goes, "Well, they came into our store. That's his jacket." And Ryan's like, "Oh, that's great." And then we see a photo of the same jacket that Ryan is wearing. We see Eddie with his glasses on. And Jen's like, "Oh, now you guys," or the shop owner's like, now you can be twinsies." And Jen's like, "Are you serious? Okay." And Ryan probably's like, Eddie's wearing that. I'm not fucking wearing that jacket. You kidding me? Eddie's not a man. Eddie's not a guy's guy. Eddie doesn't tailor his underwear like real men. We cut from that scene and we go over to Tamra and Eddie's, and they're making some tea, just like a loving couple does. Um, we see that they're picking up after their dog. She says it's so dirty over here. The place is a mess. And Eddie's like, "Wasn't me. It wasn't me. Na, 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 na. It wasn't me. And I hit it in the sofa. Wasn't me. Na, 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 na." And Tamara goes, "It's never you." And Eddie's like, "You're the mess maker," to the dog. "You're the mess maker." And Tamara's like, "Hey, there's so much grease, babe. We're doing a kitchen scene and there's so much grease." And he goes, "It's called cooking, babe. I know, but you can't just leave it on here." And he's like, "It was just last night, babe." Tamara lets us know that Eddie doesn't clean the house, but his motorcycle you can eat off of. I don't think I'll never even try that. I'm like, "Can I eat a meal off your motorcycle?" And he says his truck is always clean as well. But it turns out the kitchen, not Eddie's forte. We see Eddie showering off his truck and they play some sexy music behind it of like an Eddie smiling. Tamara says Eddie would be more likely to clean the house if there were Harley signs everywhere and his bikes were hanging from the ceiling. I wonder if Tamara puts like little Harley tattoos on her body so Eddie will like spend extra time in certain areas. I'm sorry, folks. Like I said, I'm not feeling well. Anyways, Tamara goes, "Oh, last night, what a night." And he's like, "Oh, okay, last night at Ryan's?" She's like, "Yeah, it was at Ryan's house, Jen's house, whatever." And Ryan goes, or no, sorry, Eddie goes, "It's Jen's house now." And we cut back to the Ryan scene, and Ryan is telling Jenn, "Tamara and Eddie say act my age. Is this a little bit more acting my age?" And they're still in that clothing store. And he goes, "Well, they say I'm a blinking red light." And Jen's like, "Well, I mean," and he has this like, really kind of extravagant, very tight button up shirt. And he's like, "Is this going to be more blinking red light?" Ryan, you can't be worried about what Tamara and Eddie are going to think of your fashions. You do you, my man. So Jen goes, "I think you're moving in the right direction. It's a beautiful thing with this fashion." She goes, "No, about what you're talking right now. Tamara and I are moving in a much better direction and past all the crap from last year." And Ryan's like, "Yeah, as you should." Ryan's always that guy like, "Of course. Yeah, no, 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 totally. Yes, yes." We flash back to, I think, an episode from this season. They're both in cowboy hats. And Jen's like, "Last year was painful." Tamara's like, "It was painful." And then we flash back to last season where Tamara's screaming, "You're not the only person he fucked at my gym." And Jenn goes, "How fucking dare you?" And then back to that cowboy hat scene. And Jenn goes, "I know you, Tamara. When you're backed in corners." And Tamara goes, "I apologize for coming out fighting." And Jenn goes, "I love you." Jenn, what a kind heart. And that's the thing, though. Tamara moves in these ways. And I don't think at this point, even after talking to her, I don't think she's ever going to change. But I do think Tamara recognizes, like we saw her in that flashback, recognize, like, "Oh, I do this and I do that." What I'm interested in the future is that eventually, like I said, every action, there's a reaction. And eventually it's going to be Tamara's time with the hot potato. We always call it the hot potato of who are we giving the hot potato to? Shannon has the hot potato. Okay, everything's about Shannon. Who else has the hot potato? Eventually, Tamara's going to have the hot potato. And I am always curious when her back's up against the wall, she really freaks out, even at the smallest things. Heather Dubrow's like that, but in a different, almost more elitist sort of way. So it's really interesting for Jenn to still believe in that friendship. Jenn just like, no. And Ryan's like, no, I love that for you guys. I love that. Yeah. And Jenn goes, it's much easier to have fun with her and get along with her. Tamra, back to the scene with Eddie. Tamra goes, Jenn is very happy where we are in our friendship. And, she loves you and you love her. And Eddie's like, she's a kind, loving woman. And I really respect that about her. And Tamara's like, yeah, well, I'm going to have to destroy her. Now, I'm so curious about the Eddie of it all. And I wish I got to talk to him about that yesterday, because now there's been multiple instances about how much Eddie likes Jenn. So I do wonder what that's based on. Like, Eddie does seem to understand Jenn to a degree, just can't stand Ryan, but really seems to appreciate Jenn in a way that almost even Tamra doesn't appreciate Jenn, which I find interesting. Back in the scene with Jenn and Ryan, Jenn goes, Eddie matters to me, as I've always said. I spent a lot of time in their gym training with him. And I was just like, if I'm going to keep trying to move forward with Tamra, you and Eddie need to try to have the conversation. And we flash back to the ladies where Tamra is telling Jenn and Katie and the ladies going, well, Eddie's not happy. Ryan went on podcasts and he said a lot that was not true. All right, we're getting podcasts back in the game. It's always good when podcasts are a storyline. We now flash back to this podcast. It's called All About the THR. And Ryan is going, I never heard about Tamra and Eddie. And when I did hear about Tamra and Eddie, when I got to the gym, it was nothing positive. I wonder if that was like, yeah, Eddie's glutes suck, like weak calf muscles, Eddie. Like, what was the specificity? I didn't listen to the podcast. I'm sure some of you guys did, but what was it? Like, what was the specifics? But once again, Ryan being on this first season of a show to go and do it, like, I wouldn't even reach out to Ryan to interview him last season. Like, anyways, Tamara and I talking to goes, Ryan was trying to paint this picture that Eddie's a horrible guy, that nobody at Cut Fitness liked him, which is so laughable, Tamara says. Eddie in the scene goes, Ryan showed his true colors. Back to the Ryan scene, Ryan goes, I don't have a problem with either of them. Eddie's not a dude that I would spend any time with, because he's not a dude. He's not a bro. He's just not a dude. And Jenn just looks blankly. He's not a dude. He doesn't manscape his pubes like I do. You know what I'm saying? His butthole's messy. Mine's clean. You could eat a meal off of it. He's not a dude. He's not a bro. This guy, no tailoring of the undies. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he'll wear a shirt where you can't see his nipples. Not a dude, not a bro, not a man. Ryan has a talking head and he goes, I don't care what people think about me, but after sitting back and watching a whole year of Tamara and Eddie with these falsehoods and these accusations and these blatant lies, we flash back to last season and we see Johnny J, but when he was with Shannon, we see them together and Eddie's talking to Ryan going, you walked into my gym and Heather heard you say you want to fuck my wife. Did you say that or not? And Ryan goes, you know what I will say is absolutely. When anybody starts off with, what I will say, it means they're usually trying to get to stall a little bit to actually think of the excuse that they're going to say. You know what I will say? No, definitely not. I did not say that. In the talking head, Ryan goes, you can only take so much. And I did the podcast because I said, it's time for everyone to know truth versus Tamara's fake reality. Jenn in the scene goes, if somebody was just firing on me like she did during that whole time, you were pissed off too. So I can understand all of our sides. And it's like, it feels good to be taking steps in the right direction. And he goes, I love that, babe. I love that. Like, he's so agreeable. I love that. And that's probably something that Jenn loves about Ryan, is that it does seem like he has this general positive attitude about life. Not me. No way, man. Miserable until like 6 hours into the day. Like, it's just like, oh, but Ryan seems like, yeah, let's do it. All right. And I got to say, that's probably refreshing for a lot of people. And people like that kind of attitude. Not me, though. Where are you guys, like Professor Positives, or are you kind of like, ugh? I don't know. Anyways, Jenn goes, I want you and Eddie to have this conversation. And Ryan goes, oh, babe, I'm happy to. And then we flashed to Tamra saying this to Eddie, and Eddie goes, no, not a chance. Not a chance. Oh, you know what? I didn't get to ask Tamra either. I had this question, and because I was going to ask like your best Housewives moments and your worst. And then since Eddie was in the room, I was like, Come on, you can tell me. How much do you regret that bathtub scene, or do you love that bathtub scene of like, let's video our love, babe? Like, it does make you want to interview them again because I'm like, God, I would have loved to have asked about that bathtub scene. The scene that like totally gave me an opposite of a boner. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even get to ask about that. Anyways, Tamra goes, I don't want to go backwards, Eddie. And then talking to Tamra goes, he wants to be a little bitch and try to act like, you came for me, so I'm going to come for you. Okay. But my hope is that Ryan apologizes to Eddie and make that effort because Jenn and I were in a good place when he decided to go do this. And Eddie goes, well, tell Jenn I love her, but I want nothing to do with that guy. All you got to do is Google his name. I should have Googled his name when I met him. The guy is a scumbag. And back to the Ryan scene and Ryan and Jenn. Ryan's like, you know what I say? Fuck them all. I'm always going to do me. I'm always going to. So how did it go from, yeah, I want to have that conversation to fuck them all. I'm always going to do me. This guy right here in the tight tailored undies. I will say it is interesting to attack Eddie at the bro man level. Cause like I'm like the total opposite. I mean, like I can bro out sometimes, like, or like, what's up, dude? Like, but like I'm more comfortable watching my stories, watching my housewives, you know, going on the Daily Mail, listening to my musicals. Like I'm very like you can get like I drive a shitty Corolla. I don't really, like there's a lot of things that you could attack me on. But the bro level is such an interesting one with Eddie because Eddie owned a gym. Eddie fucking goes like Harley riding as the truck. I mean, I feel like that's kind of pretty manly too. So what is he like? Tamra said in the interview, like, oh, saying he's gay or something like, or like referring to that, which I'm like, it's so weird because to me, they're just different forms of masculinity. And Ryan has a very tailored version. It's like metrosexual. We remember that word metrosexual was really big in 2005. Like metrosexual. Like Ryan is metrosexual chic. Like that's where he is. Like I'm sure he gets well, no, we know there was a scene where he got a manicure and a pedi. So he likes the finer things, but it is interesting because if you're going to attack Eddie on the bro level, there's a lot of things that Ryan doesn't do that I think would be considered like broing out. So very interesting. I hope we get more into this. So we cut to commercial. We come back from commercial, and this is the moment where I was talking about. They have these two dogs playing, and then the one dog, they draw a white line like tracing the dog. And I have no clue why they did it. What is the meaning of this traced dog? You'll go back and watch this because it's like 2 seconds. And I'm like, have they done this forever? And I'm just now noticing it. And then we cut to Shannon Beador's house, and Shannon is walking down the stairs and goes, who wants a carrot, Archie? Who wants a carrot? That I want that to be my ringtone. Who wants a carrot, Archie? Huh? Archie, carrot? Will you film with me for a carrot? Huh? So she's like, sit, Archie. Here's a carrot. Good boy. Yeah. This Archie, man, Archie is America to me. I will protect Archie until I love this dog. I love this dog as if it were my own. Archie, just all American, beautiful dog. I love that Archie is there just to be with Shannon because her daughters are all, at school and doing their things. Anyway, she takes a FaceTime call from Adeline. She's like, hi, Adeline, you're blurry. Maybe stop moving. And I just want to, remind her that Shannon's daughters, I have to remind everybody this every time. They are the initial Haim, the girl rock band, because they started RHOC, Ladies of RHOC, Ladies of RHOC. Remember? Dreamcatcher. Remember that season? I still sing that to myself multiple times every week. And Shannon says, I like your fresh face look with not a lot of makeup. Thanks. I just got back from class. She says, my kids are all at school, and I love that the girls are branching out and they're totally self-sufficient, but I miss them. It's very quiet. Just Archie and the carrots. And then Shannon goes, what's the status of the men over there? And she goes, the men in New York? They're disgusting. And Shannon's like, you haven't been asked out on a date? And she goes, I have. I just don't go. The only date I will accept is a date to Carbone. So And Shannon goes, oh, okay, so let's live in reality. You're 19, maybe in Olive Garden. And Adeline goes, don't underestimate me, mother. Whoa! And Adeline goes, so how are you? She goes, I'm okay. We did our tour and it was really fun. And we flash back to Vicki and Shannon live, and we see the audience. There's people like standing up, applauding. Like I said, this is hotter ticket than Adele. You see Master of Ceremonies Doug Buden on the side of the stage, and Vicki's like, so much fun. Shannon tells her daughter, I just laughed for 3 days, and I needed that because this John threatening lawsuit thing is just, it's just freaking spiraled. We flash back to that scene with Gina from a couple weeks ago of like, my attorney called me and said, yeah, they're actually standing on the fact that they want those videos for blackmail purposes. He said he's going to file the lawsuit in the courts against me. Shannon tells her daughter, I offered to pay him all the money he wanted, but he wouldn't sign a settlement agreement where he wouldn't say bad things about me. And Adeline goes, that's weird and gross. Hell yeah, Adeline. And Shannon goes, I know, I'm working really hard, Adeline. I don't need him to bring me down. Get off my back. And Adeline goes, it's gross. It's gross. That's just how he is. Shannon says in a talking head, I feel though as I've hit rock bottom, but it seems like John wants me to get down there further, wants to get me down further. And I don't think I can go any lower. And she starts tearing up in that talking head. And then we get it again. Fade to black later that day. Boom. And we hear Tamra go, holy shit. John Janssen, she's reading her phone. John Janssen sues Jan and Beador for $75,000. It looks like she's on people.com. It's like out there now. It's a story. She's talking to the cameras. Tamra in a talking head goes, we all knew about the lawsuit, but now putting it in the press just takes it to a whole other level. And we see Shannon storms, and Tamra calls Shannon, and Tamra continues in the talking head. People magazine is a big outlet, and it's also a very reputable outlet. Shout out to Dave Quinn. So if it's out there, it's 99.9% true. The phone is ringing, and it says, your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. So Shannon didn't pick up. Tamra continues. Now it all makes sense why Alexis was acting a little loony at Jen's party. Well, little loony, yeah, she knew the lawsuit was coming, and she probably told you guys off camera as well. And she could have stopped all of this. I don't understand. Just give the money. Take the money. And we flash back to Gina going, are you okay, Alexis? I feel like you're so, what's going on? And Alexis is like, what's happening is, oh. And Heather goes, spit it out, sister. And Tamara screams, what happened? What happened? And then we flash to that moment of her on the floor. Alexis going, my heart does feel for Shannon, but John has lost everything because of her lies. Can we just get a little bookmark of what he's actually lost? Could we get a producer to write it on screen? Like, he lost this, because it feels like he's only gained. He gained you. So Tamara in this scene with her phone goes, oh, snap. This is going to send her. She's in the fetal position somewhere. Tamara in the talking head goes, you just don't want your dirty laundry aired like that. Welcome to the Housewives, baby. And then Tamara goes, oh, Shannon's calling me. And she picks up. And you can tell, like, you just hear Shannon's like muffled voice in the background. And Tamara's like, Shannon? And you said, I need us to talk and strategize and figure this out. And Tamara's like, she butt dialed me to the camera. Now, Tamara in the interview yesterday said, they just said, keep rolling when the butt dial. Like, normally she wouldn't answer, but they said, no, you got to answer it. So who knows if that is the truth, where that lies, but fascinating. And you hear Shannon say, Alexis is pain is kind of making him do this. And you hear somebody like, for sure. I am just so emotional right now. I'm just destroyed. I'm so overwhelmed. It's too much. And Tamara's like, hello. And Tamara goes, Shannon, why didn't you just agree to pay him? But she did agree to pay him. This is what I'm so confused. Is it just this disparagement clause? Why? And I'm trying to look at all sides here. In this moment, Tamara does not look excited, But I also think Tamra, I do think Tamra will produce reality television one day. And I think in her head, she's a different sort of housewife player where she's sitting there going, well, this is, like I can't imagine she's not thinking at some point, well, this is good. This is good for the show. It's bad for Shannon, but it's potentially good for the show. And I just feel like it doesn't still make sense. It doesn't hold water. Like she was going to give him the money. So now Tamara is calling, um, she's calling somebody else, and it's Heather. And she goes, did you see the news? And Heather's like, what's the news? Is it about Terry saying heart on during his nose appointment? And Shannon goes, he filed a lawsuit against her. People magazine did an article. And Heather goes, oh my God, what is John doing? And Tamara's like, I don't know. And Heather's like, oh shit. And Tamara goes, I tried calling her to see if she's okay. And then she butt dialed me she was crying hysterically about all of this and saying that Alexis has hired a publicist to get this out there and all kinds of stuff. We do know Alexis does have a publicist. I will say that because I saw him on Instagram. So Alexis does have a publicist, but I'm sure a lot of these housewives do have a publicist. Tamara and I talking head goes, I don't think Alexis had anything to do with the article being released because once you file a lawsuit, it comes out. Heather in a talking head goes, John has historically said he doesn't like to be in the spotlight. This would be counterintuitive to that. I don't understand what John and Alexis, for that matter, are trying to accomplish. I mean, was there no way to settle this? In the phone call, Heather goes, I feel so bad for her. And Tamara goes, it's bad. It's bad. Okay, bye. I've got to help Terry with the snoring. But Heather nails it on the head of like, wasn't there another way around this? Can't we all be on the same page that this is a little murky? Like, hopefully we'll find out more at the reunion, but it's just a little murky. It doesn't add up. And certain things don't add up. Like, we can just be honest with ourselves. This doesn't necessarily add up. And I do wonder what those conversations between Alexis and Johnny J look like. I do wonder because, Alexis is trying to make us believe. She's like, no, Johnny, don't do it. You don't need to do it, Johnny. Just bury your head in my bosom, Johnny. And he's like, no, not after what she's done. Like, what is going on over there? We go to commercial. We come back. It's a new day in the OC. We see the sun. We also see these people doing like yoga poses on the beach, but it's another one of those stage shots. It's like three ladies doing yoga poses. Really good interstitial moments. And we have a song going, West Coast, that's where I want to go. I get that California feeling deep in my soul. And we go to Katie's place, and Katie's with her husband, Matt, and they're making martinis. And they're going to have people over for dinner. They're going to have the crew over, the OC ladies over. And Katie goes, should we all drink Heather's Dom that she gave me at the golf party? Seems fitting, Matt says. It does, right? Maybe we dessert. We toast with it. And we flash back to that scene where Heather Dubrow gifts her with the Dom before they have the fight about the paparazzi, right? And Katie goes, let's talk about who's coming. I'll introduce you, Matt, but then you can just know their names, right? Tamra's married to Eddie. Jen's boyfriend is Ryan. And then Emily's husband is Shane. She's like, Shane. Being new to Orange County, I thought it'd be really fun to have the ladies and their husbands over. And I feel like it's important Matt meets their spouses. He needs to make friends here. Matt, run as fast as you can, Matt. You are pure. You do not need this. You just run. The minute Ryan started telling you what he does for a living, you should have been like, gotta go. Peace. So we flash back to, this is another Housewives trope. We'll be at the event and then we'll flash back to the person inviting people to the event. So we flash back to Katie going, I was thinking of having you guys over for dinner. And then Jenn and Emily are like, oh, fun. And you always have the invite. And then the other housewives have to be like, oh, fun. I can make it. That's amazing. And Katie's like, I really want to meet your spouses. And Emily goes, so you're going to have Ryan and Eddie in the same room? And Shane? Shane's not a troublemaker. This guy just loves his thirst busters. Shane's my favorite. Katie says Jeana is busy with, her real estate this weekend. I'm doing real estate. Yeah. So Gina's not gonna come. So Travis is not gonna come. But who else did she not invite? Right? No, she's busy with her kids this weekend. She didn't invite Shannon because it's a couple's dinner party. She could kind of feel like the eighth, ninth wheel. Katie, she needs you guys now more than ever because she didn't get to go to the adult Jenga Tamra Peen on the cement party because she was doing Vicki and Shannon live. And now she can't go to your couples party. She could bring Archie, Katie. Anyways, she's like, we got Vuv and Dom. Nothing could go wrong, right? And they're arriving now, but she says these girls are always late, so don't worry about it. And this Matt, he must make a pretty strong martini, as we see later. Now we go over to Shane and Emily's, and Emily goes, Heather's not going to be there because Heather will not be there because she refuses to talk to Katie or acknowledge that she exists, which is very awkward. And Shane gives a, yep, that sounds about right. Yep. And Ryan went on all these podcasts, Emily tells Shane, and just trashed Tamra. And Shane's like, so is there going to be a boxing match? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, do we have a gift? Are we supposed to take a gift? Emily says, you just give him one of your kids. I don't know. She asks her son, what should I take someone as a gift if I'm going to dinner at their house? And the kid goes, pot. And Shane's like, you want to bring him pot? We have to ask if they like pot first. I love the kids these days. Marijuana is legal. Yeah. Pot is actually a great gift for any sort of dinner. I love Shane. Shane is just old faithful. Like he is just that guy. Like you'll never catch. I would love to have Shane Simpson on this podcast. I don't think he would ever do it. And also I think a lot of people, like I'm not the Gotcha podcast. You're probably never, unfortunately, going to hear clips of mine from this podcast on a show that people are fighting about. My God, how I've prayed that it would happen. But that's not this. So I would love to have Shane on just to talk about silly, stupid stuff. I met him at BravoCon at that Jeff Lewis party last November, and he was just so great. He was so nice. And he's so, I mean, I don't know. We were joking around. We talked about my mom. He was a lovely guy. Like he was my speed of guy. Like I'm a thirst buster guy. Like I relate to Shane, but Shane's not that guy that's going to out there doing podcasts like Ryan and the rest of them. Anyways, we go to Terry. Terry is signing his life away for his little nose surgery. And he's like, I'm signing this is I can kill you and you can't sue me. We're set. And Heather's in the room looking worried. And Terry's like, don't worry. It's going to be fine. All right. Come hug me. And she's like, I love you. And he's like, don't admonish me on camera. No. And then Terry goes, Heather, you grieve for 6 months, only 6 months, and then go on with your life. Date someone in better health afterwards. And then we get 2 hours later and we hear a doctor go, he survived the surgery. And Heather goes, did you make him look like George Clooney? And the doctor's like, yeah, a lot. And then we see Terry waking up. We see his bandage over his nose. Heather kisses him on the lip. And she's like, how are you feeling? He's like, good. And then they unpeel the nose and there's like an angel choir in the background. And the doctor's like, you can really see he's not even oozing that much. Hit me with an oozing. I love it. And then Terry is just mumbling coming out of the sedation. He's like, $1 billion no. And Heather's like, it's too late. You survived. I'm canceling all the life insurance. And then immediately Heather takes a photo of post-op Terry to sell to the paparazzi. No. Heather goes, I did ask the doctor to make him look like George Clooney, and I'm not sure that was achieved. But more importantly, I get my beauty sleep, my cognitive sleep, all my sleeps. And so Terry's nose looks great, went great. Everybody says he did great. And the doctor's like, you're going to be thrilled, Terry. You're not going to ever wind up on botched. And then Terry's like, can I show you something? Can I show you something? And then he goes, I don't know. He's making like this weird face, like, and he's like, ripped. And she goes, oh, you ripped it? I don't know what he's talking about. Like, rip a fart? What did he rip? And Heather, it looked like he was like, whacking off, and Heather goes, well, that's not what it looked like you were doing, just so you know. And the doctor's like, it looked like you were having a moment. Yeah, it is a good nose though. And Heather's laughing. This Terry making a lot of sexual jokes, doing sexual innuendos. I don't know. Then we cut from that, more shots of Balboa Pier, the boardwalk, people driving on their bikes. Everybody's having a great time. We were over at Gina's house and her son says that he forgot his lacrosse bag at dad's. And she's like, it's okay because dad's going to drop it over. He said he was going to come over. And the, daughter's like, Mom, what are you making? Oh, I'm making sauce and meatballs. I figured we could all have it when we go over to Trav's later. The doorbell rings. Sienna, her 9-year-old daughter, grabs it and it's her dad and her dad's fiance. they come in and you know, it is a testament to Jeana that she is able to still have a positive relationship with her children's dad. I mean, that is positive, right? And Gina's like, "You guys want to try a meatball? Yeah, meatball? Come on." Well, first of all, I have to say, every time I talk about making meatballs, Meatball, our dog, thinks that he's going to get eaten. He's like, "Don't eat the meatballs." You know what I want to know about? I want to know about your wedding, Jeana says. And we flash back to Jeana on the phone going, "Matt and Britt are engaged." She's on the phone with her parents. And her parents are like, "Wow, wow." It's like, "Yeah." And the mom's like, "Is anyone having a baby?" It's like, "No, they're not having a little meatball. No." So his fiance says, "We're going to have a commitment ceremony in April." And she's like, "I'm really happy for you guys. And I think it's really nice for the kids, you know? It gives them a sense of security, I think." And like, honestly, especially because like everything going on between Trav and I, which is like a bummer, but like, I'm really happy for them. Like, this is good for them. In a talking head, Jeana goes, "I could never even imagine a better stepmom for my children. But it's tough to see that Matt is moving forward with his relationship, and then mine is like sliding backwards. Like, I'm not going to say that that's not a little bit difficult. And they're supposed to be together. I just want that too." And her ex goes, "Where is Travis?" And he's like, "Well, he's actually at work, but he wouldn't just naturally come here anymore. He goes to his house, you know?" It's hard because, you know, I have to get some distance from his ex in that situation. That's really what made it impossible for me. And the lady's like, "It's not getting any better." And she's like, "It's actually getting worse." And the fiance is like, "I think about it all the time, like how lucky I am to have you as the mom, Jeana." And Jeana goes, "I know." I'm like, "It's so unfair. It's so unfair." I'm like, "Britt gets me and I get crazy town, you know?" Talking about Trav's ex. I need to know more about Travis's ex because that's where the information lies. That's why we're dealing with this. Something kooky with Travis's ex that has made it impossible for her and Travis to move forward at a good clip. Wow. Jeana in the talking head goes, "Because of his ex-wife and her inability to effectively co-parent, Travis is dealing with things that are outside of his control, but affect him so deeply that it affects the entire dynamic of our family." And I know it's hard for me because it's a legal thing. So I don't know always how to explain it. Do not have Travis talk to John Janssen. John Janssen would be like, "You got to get the courts involved. Let's get the courts involved. Johnny J." Tina goes, "He's such a good guy, Trav." And Matt goes like, "Yeah, I don't want to see Travis go." And she's like, "I know, I don't either. I just want it to be easy," she says in a talking head, and she's tearing up. "I just want it to be okay. It's just like sadness, and I feel like I can't figure it out, you know? It was only like a year ago, our kids, they staged this little wedding for us in the backyard." And we see the flashback to this and the Instagram post saying the kids decided to throw a surprise wedding for me and Trav. And we see Jeana kissing Trav. We see a bouquet toss with all the kids. It's really cute. And she writes, "Love these crazy kiddos and Travis so much." And Jeana goes, "You're finally with the person that you're supposed to be with, and yet you can't just be happy. It feels very unfair that somebody would work to take that from us." She just sighs. Oh my God. So it really is fully Travis's ex. Dude, I'm telling you, Jeana is having a phenomenal, fantastic season. Like, I've not liked Jeana this much ever on the show. I mean, she's opening like, I just want her to open up a little bit more. I just want specifics. So it was so murky in the beginning because I was like, this guy seems awesome, you know, like he's a little soft spoken, but he seems awesome. You seem happy. And then the fiance is like, "I might be Brett Kirschenheiter. I don't know." And Gina's like, "You're going to change your name?" And, you know, she's like, "Well, not legally, but you know." And Gina's like, "You're going to be a Kirschenheiter?" She's like, "Well, maybe a Kirsch." And then Gina's like, "Well, that's not the name. Take the name. Take the name. You know, come on, all 14 letters." And Britt is like, "Yeah, Britt, Terry Lynn, DeSola, Kirschenheiter." Which, by the way, I'm so glad they're saying it because I always mangle Gina's last name, Jeana Kirschenheiter. And Gina's like, "Kirschenheiter goes with anything, so you'll be fine." And they're all laughing. I mean, it's shocking that they can all laugh after the past. You can still get through things and get to like some sort of understanding and like sunnier days. Hopefully Jeana can get that with Travis. And I'm curious what her ex is doing because it seems like it's pretty intense if it upsets Travis that much and so much so that Jeana had Travis move out, that Travis had to move out to fix it. And I wonder how much the kids are cognizant of all of this. Whew. Anyways, now we are at Katie's dinner party, and she says, normally in the South, you have people over, you cook for them, right? My mom called me and said, do you have a nice table runner? Check. Wine glasses? Check. Plates? Yeah. Did you make dinner? No. And Matt's like, so dinner is, and she's like, brisket, chicken, mac and cheese, potato salad, bread, and there's something else. Oh, beans. And Matt's like, oh, yeah. And Katie, yeah, I ordered that. But it was a lot of people to make for. So I was like, I'll just order it and put it on fancy platters. That sounds amazing. I love it. Beans? Hell yeah. And then Katie goes, Matt, I got to warn you. And he's like, about Eddie and Ryan. They haven't seen each other in months. And apparently Ryan went on a podcast and like bashed Tamra and Eddie. And we flash back to that scene with the two daughters and Katie and Tamra. And Tamra goes, my assistant said, you're not going to believe what you missed when you were gone. He's like, Ryan's been going after you and Eddie for 2 weeks. And Katie has this face like, zoinks, what? And now back to this scene. Matt goes, what? You're just telling me this now? And Katie goes, I know. Well, God. Okay, so Emily and Shane walk in first. And Shane's already making fun of Emily, going, hey, can that purse be used as a weapon? And Emily's like, you know it. So Emily and Shane walk in. And I like, Shane's like, hey, what's up? I'm Shane. What's going on? Love Shane Simpson. And Katie meets Shane for the first time. Then we see Tamra and Eddie walk in. And Tamara's like, pretty backyard. And Eddie's like, very nice, very nice. And then we hear knock, knock. Come on in. And we get another more intro. Hey, this is my husband, Eddie. All right. Everybody's kind of dressed with like this bluish hue color. Katie says, you look beautiful, Tamra. Eddie gives Shane a bro hug. And Emily's taking out her sunglasses because everybody's wearing sunglasses, and she's like, oh my God, my tampon's attached to it. I guess there was a tampon in her purse and she pulled her. Anyways, not important. So, Eddie's like, very nice to meet you, Katie. Hey, Matt, what's going on, buddy? Very nice to meet you. And that's when we see Jenn Pedranti and Ryan come in, and Ryan's in like this puffer coat, green sneaks, tight blue jeans, white hoodie top. Jenn looks nice too. So they walk in, and Jen's like, oh, how pretty is this? This is just nice. And he's like, I know, right? This is gorgeous. So Tamra inside orders Matt's dirty martini. And I'm like, here we go. Uh-oh, Tamra, watch out. And Eddie just does sparkling water. Eddie just does a sparkling water. So Jenn and Ryan now finally walk in from the backyard. And Jen's like, hey, Matt, how are you? How are you? Matt, here's Ryan. And Ryan's like, thanks for having us over, my friend. Hey, all right. And he's like, I appreciate it. Like really, they're both like, he's wearing sunglasses, but he's like looking him dead in Matt's eyes. He's like, I appreciate it. Matt's like, what do you guys want to drink? And Ryan goes, oh, you've got Malibu rum. Remember, he's like a Malibu rum. And Jenn goes, yeah, I'll do a Diet Coke and a Malibu. Woo! Take me back to college. We see Eddie clock that Ryan is in the room, and you can already feel the tension building. So Jenn goes in, hey, to all the ladies. And then Ryan goes in to hug, not shake, but hug Eddie. And Shane's like kind of standing there to the left. And he goes, how are you, Eddie? And he goes, good to see you. And he dodges the hug. And Ryan goes, you want to give me a hug? And Eddie goes, no. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he turns to Shane, hey, brother, how are you? And hugs Shane. Shane lets the hug happen. Eddie was like, this is a no hug zone. And it's great. When like the guy tension almost beats the girl tension in a Housewives scene, you're in for a special treat. So Ryan keeps trying to talk to Eddie. He goes, great to see you. And Eddie just kind of walks away and goes, "You gonna hide? You gonna hide, Eddie?" And he goes, "No, I just got nothing to say to you." And Ryan goes, "Oh my God." And Matt clocks this like, "Oh my God." Katie goes, "I'm kind of like nail biting. Like, what is going to happen? Like, are they going to punch each other?" Emily and I talking, goes, "These are two big dudes. I don't know, but I'm excited." I like Emily, like, "Yeah, gladiators. Woo! Is there a ring somewhere we can set them up? Put some Vaseline on them? It's like two bulls in a china shop," she says. Katie says, "Please don't break any of our wine glasses. They're like $80 each. Just like be kind around the wine glasses." So Eddie talks to Matt. Eddie goes, "Thank you so much for this drink." He's like, Eddie, do you want any lemon in there?" He's like, "No, just plain water." "Okay, cool, 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 cool." And Shane's like, "Do you have any fresh mint?" So Ryan's talking to Emily and the girls, and Eddie and Shane are together. And Shane goes, "Oh, so you don't drink, Eddie?" And Eddie goes, "Not unless I have to tolerate the environment." And then Shane's like, "That's enough." And Eddie goes, "It's a little bullshit here." And he's like smiling. He's like, and he's like, "It's a little bullshit here." I'm scared watching this. And then Tamra is putting like makeup on Emily, and Tamra goes, "Did you see what Eddie did to Ryan?" And Emily goes, "Well, I don't blame him. You think Shane will be happy to see somebody that fucking trashed me?" Tamra goes, "He crossed the line, fucking like a little fucking bitch." And she's like, Tamra's sipping her gigantic martini. And Emily goes, "Don't say little bitch around Shane. It's very triggering." And we flash back to a couple seasons ago when Kelly Dodd was on, when Kelly got into it with Shane. And Kelly's like, "You're a little bitch, dude." And Emily's like, "Kelly, that's my husband." And Kelly's like, "That's a little bitch." And Emily's like, "That's my husband. I'll fucking kill you." I love Emily. And then flashback to this. Tamara goes, "Well, who's the bitch now?" And Emily goes, "Right, right." And Jenn and Ryan are walking away. And Jen's like, "Wait, he didn't even say hi to you?" And he's like, "No, he wouldn't say hi. He wouldn't give me a hug. He's such a clown, baby bitch." So we just had Tamara call Ryan a little bitch. And then Ryan calls Eddie a baby bitch. And there's just a lot of bitch going around. Eddie goes, "Are there name tags on the table for where to sit?" And Katie goes, "No, you can sit anywhere." And Emily goes, "Yeah, you can sit by Ryan." And Eddie goes, "Ha ha!" Like you can tell this is really messing with Eddie. So we see Ryan go outside with Matt, Katie's husband. The dogs are out there with him. And, Matt's like, "Hey, so what do you do for a living?" And Ryan goes, "I'm in real estate development." And Matt's like, "Okay." And then he keeps going, "Well, I'm in development." He's in mortgage industry for 15 years. Do all projects in California, some out of the state, ground up construction and or flips. Got into real estate development. I work from home ever since COVID changed a lot of things for a lot of us. And Matt's like, "Yeah." And then he continues, "I'm working right now on like 7 home developments right now. So it's great." Yeah. And Matt just goes, "Oh, wow." Like his face doesn't goes, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Okay, cool." He has that face of like, "Make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away." And then they just kind of like stare. It's probably just editing, but it's funny. We see the beautifully set table outside. We see everybody be invited to go out and eat. And Tamra goes over to try to get another one of these martinis from Matt. And Emily's like, "Yeah, tell the bartender to make me another drink. Champagne? I don't care. Can you do that for me?" And then we notice that Tamara's holding a martini and just spilling it fully. Like it's at an angle where she's just spilling it. And I will say, Tamara does seem drunk. And I got to tell you, martinis will do that for you, but it's wild. Like this is the thing. If you're going to come at Shannon this hard, you can't then get tanked in scenes. Like you have to kind of watch yourself because once you make those accusations, action reaction, like I was saying. So Tamra, you can tell she's activated. You could tell she is more than buzzing in this scene. And I would be too, having a couple of martinis, having a good time. But my God, and Eddie clocks this. And he's like, "You're spilling." And Emily's like, "You ding dong." And she's like, "Sorry, I was trying to cover your glass over here, Emily." And she's like walking away with the drinks. And, Eddie goes over to Matt And Eddie's like, yeah, don't serve Tamra anymore. Jenn says, last time Tamra got super drunk like this, I literally had a napkin thrown in my face. And we flash back to that sushi restaurant from last season where Tamra's like, but you want to fucking tell me to watch it? And she throws a napkin at Jenn Pedranti and stands up. You want to fucking tell me to watch it? And Jen's like, so I hope everybody holds onto their napkins tonight. Yeah, and Eddie's just like, hey, probably shouldn't serve her more alcohol. And Matt's like, okay. And Eddie goes, please, please. And Matt's like, done. Just guys awkwardly laughing with each other. Like, don't serve her any more alcohol, please. Okay, done. Let's all awkward laugh together. Oh, but yeah, man, especially if you're going to come after Shannon for her alcohol abuse. And I know Tamra has defended herself many times saying, listen, I don't have a problem with alcohol. I drink for fun. I mean, I have a good time, but when you're on television and this is a storyline, it is going to come up. Like, I guarantee this will come up at the reunion, right? We come back from break and they're talking about how Matt is an angel. They're like, how long have you guys been married? Tamra asks. And Katie says 7.5 years. And Tamara's like, and Matt, do you have any kids? And you can tell Tamra, there was a light source like, Matt, do you have any kids? Do you have any kids? And he's like, no, no. And Katie's like, he was a unicorn when I met him. And Matt's like, I was single. And Katie's like, yeah, never married, no kids. And Matt goes, yeah, single till I was 44. And Emily's like, were you a player? And he's like, no, I just crush a lot. No. And Tamara's like, were you a player? And he goes, no, just one woman. And Tamara's like, you don't look like a player. And he's like, found the right woman. Found the right woman. You found the woman, Tamra says. And then Emily goes, he's still looking. And Matt goes, no. Are you kidding me? And Katie's like, yeah, he's combing the streets of Newport Beach. Yeah, Matt, stay away from the quiet woman. Whatever you do, stay away. And then Tamra, trying to make nice table conversation, goes, by the way, I saw Katie's butthole. And Matt's like, what? And then we flash back to last week where she got the adult Jenga saying, show me your butthole. And Tamara's like, show it. And she showed me her butthole. Oh my God, I saw it. And Tamara goes, Matt, we were playing truth or dare and you have to do what you have to do. And Katie goes, I had underwear on. And Tamara's like, we still saw your butthole. And Eddie's like, that's classy. And then Tamra goes, can we talk about Alexis the other night? And this is Tamra. This is where she plays that Housewives line because she's really like buddied up with Alexis in a sense. But at the same time, sometimes Alexis goes too far where she can't actually defend her. But what's interesting is that Tamra will bring it up in conversation of starting this conversation. It's like, I would imagine, a producer's dream. And she's like, can we talk about Alexis the other night? And I was like, did you? And no, Tamra goes, can we? She was acting fucking crazy. And Emily's like, Looney Tunes. And Emily goes, well, Alexis didn't help that night at all. It didn't. And Jen's like, it did not help at all. I feel like Heather and I maybe could have had just went and sat down if Alexis wasn't there, Emily says. Because I had tried to talk to Heather and I had tried to tell her how I felt from my heart as a fucking friend. Let me just explain something to you, okay? Emily's like into it. She's like, you see me at the gym every day. Do you not? And she starts tearing up. Like Emily's tearing up even at the table. And Ryan goes, every morning. So I like, wait, does Ryan work at the same gym oh yeah, I think they work out at the same gym. So Emily's like, do you not see me at the gym every morning? Ryan goes, every morning. So when I go into a fashion show and there are two dresses that are identical and the one for me is a size 12, do you think that hurts my psyche a little bit? And they're like, yeah, of course, 100%. Ryan even goes, 100%. That's why I get my underwear tailored, underwear. And Tamara goes, do you think that Heather put a size 12 on there for purpose? And Emily goes, no, I just wanted her to see me. That's it. Because when I was heavier, I've been called every name in the book and it was hurtful. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And Tamara's like, yeah, 1,000%. I feel like Emily might've been overserved and Tamara might've been overserved. But I just love Emily so much. And I went into this last week about my own weight struggles and how I know exactly what she's meaning and feeling in these moments. But Tamara says, I didn't understand that side of it, Emily. And I apologize from the deepest part of my heart. Like, I apologize. Talking head, she says, I do know Emily has a lot of insecurity about her weight. And I understand that. And we flash back to a previous season where she is getting weighed by Eddie at their gym. And she's like, this is what I weigh. That's the most I've ever that's off the charts. And Tamara's like, what's her body fat at? And Eddie's like, you're at 34. That's considered obese. Oh, it's brutal, man. It's brutal. I've heard that word as well. I mean, it's brutal. Those classifications. It does not even matter that most of my weight is in my gigantic dong. No, it's not true. It's in my thighs, but same thing, you know? But anyways, Tamara says she looks great. She looks amazing. But I think, when you're working so hard and you see, size zeros all over the place in Orange County, it's hard. It is hard. And Tamara says, I feel bad for her, which I don't think Emily wants people to feel bad for her. I just think like it's one of those things. It's like, why do I have this given to me in my life? I think that's the thing. Like you look at people, like I remember always looking at Brad Pitt. I always talk about this. I remember reading this Brad Pitt Rolling Stone cover story back in the day when he did Interview with the Vampire. And I'll always remember when he was like, during the interview, he's just like chowing down on Taco Bell. And I'm just like, God, this dude like is an Adonis and he can just chow down on fast food like Lisa Barlow and he just looks like a gift from God. I chow down on Taco Bell and I look like me, like where is the fairness in the world? Like how much work we have to put in to like be comfortable with ourselves. I mean, I totally understand this. And Jenn says it would have been awesome for everybody to have like let you and Heather have that conversation. It's unfortunate that Alexis didn't give you the time to do that. And there was all the noise with Alexis. And Katie goes like, she came in a little heightened, anxious. And Tamara goes, well, people, I love Tamara just moving the storyline along. She's like, well, People Magazine this week came out with an article basically saying that John is now officially suing Shannon. So I called Shannon to, see how she was. And she didn't answer, but she butt dialed me. And everybody's like, oh no, oh no. And Tamara goes, she was hysterically crying. She talked about how Alexis is behind all of this. She blamed it all on Alexis. She said that she was sad. She was tired. She can't go through this. A lot of blame on Alexis. I can only imagine Matt, Katie's husband, is like, no, seriously, what the fuck am I doing here? This is what are we doing? Can we talk sports? What's going on? Katie goes, but if I was Shannon and I had been sued by Alexis and her ex-husband and now Alexis and her boyfriend, and Tamara goes, you cannot put those two together. Well, I mean, wait, why can't we put those two together? Because Katie's like, no, I know, but why can't we put those two together? Katie goes, but in Shannon's mind, that's what she's thinking. In a talking head, Tamara says, of course, everything falls back on Alexis and in Shannon's eyes. Then Shannon in a talking head goes, I think that Alexis's PR team is behind this. People Magazine article, 1000%. Not one doubt in my mind. She goes, not one doubt in my mind. The same thing happened with Tamara and I when we got sued by the Bellinos for defamation. The press got a copy of the complaint before we did. Tamara says, I mean, clearly the reason why Shannon doesn't like her isn't because of the lawsuit. It's because she's banging her ex-boyfriend. No, I'm sure that doesn't help, but the lawsuit also just makes it that much worse. Two things can be true at once. And then Tamara goes, let me ask you a question. Would you rather pay somebody $70,000 to pay him off or go to court? She asks Ryan this. And Ryan goes, that's a tough one. Well, I need context, And Shane goes, well, if you got money from someone and they're alleging it's borrowed and it's arguable both ways, she's saying it's better just to pay it and be done and move on instead of going to a big lawsuit. And Ryan goes, 100%, 100%. And Emily goes, look, she did offer the full amount, but she wanted him to sign a non-disparagement clause. That's the problem. He wouldn't sign that. And Tamara goes, I think it's weird. If somebody's not going to sign that, just go fuck and just sign it. You're not going to get that in court. Go, done. And they're like, you're not going to get the non-disparagement clause. Now you're going to go to court and owe the money, Shane says, and then still not sign the non-disparagement. So basically saying like, yeah, now you're paying court fees on top of this. But I don't like that it's edging back towards blaming Shannon again. Like Shannon, like why? Like, no, like non-disparagement clause, because it does look like how many times have they disparaged Shannon this season, right? But Shane goes, that can only be in settlement. Look, Emily says, if I were representing John Janssen, I'm sorry, Johnny J, LOL, I would say take your $75,000, sign the non-disparagement. Let's leave Shannon alone and ride off into the sunset with your girlfriend and have a happy life. Hell yeah, Emily. And this is such a bad editor troll. We cut to Shannon alone in a bathroom doing the thing where you put in your nostril and then the water comes out on the other side. What are the neti pot? We see her do a neti pot of like right up into the sunset. And then just slam cut to Shannon having water and mucus dripping through her nose. Brutal. And she like blows her nose, blows it 3 or 4 times. She can tell she's getting ready for the bed. And she goes, I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach. Archie, it's time for night. She's in bed. Talking head, she's like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of things are coming at me, and it's okay. I'll deal with it. And then in the scene, she's like, Archie, I got a carrot. Yeah, sit down. Sit down with mama. I love that she bribes Archie with these carrots. Are you going to go night with mommy? Shannon says, it's just a lot, and I'm alone. But that's my choice. I want to be alone. I don't want to be, I don't have my kids home, but we're just alone. Oh, and then she's like petting Archie. She's like, I have Archie. I have this bag of carrots. I don't know. I'm glad Archie is there. We've got to protect Archie at all costs. And she's just crying in her talking head. And she says, so. Back at the dinner, nice little diversion to watch Shannon get a neti pot in her nose. And Ryan goes, well, that's tough then. And so what else was said? And Shane says, did you record it? And she goes, can we play it? Can we play the butt dial? And they're all laughing. And they're like, do you have receipts? And there's silence. And then Tamra, damn, this is like bam, bam, bam. 3 topics of conversation in one scene. This is what I'm talking about. Producer's wet dream brings up everything you need to know. It's all like, so this is what I would like. This is the quarterback, right? She is throwing passes. And this is what also gets Tamra into a lot of hot water because she's like, bam, bam, bam. She's like, hey, can we talk about the elephant in the room? And Jen's like, which one's that? And Emily goes right back in there. Like Emily almost goes into duet. She's like, what? Are you talking about Ryan and Eddie? And Tamara's like, yeah, it's an elephant. Yeah. And Katie is like, oh my God, don't do it here. Don't do it here. And they're like 2 big elephants. And Eddie's just looking like down. He's just like, no. And Ryan's smiling like, yeah, bring it on. And Tamara goes, when you went on a podcast and pretty much talked really mad shit about me, but not only me, you talked about me as a mom. You talked about Eddie as a businessman. Now, Eddie is looking up at the sky. He's like, oh, look, the moon. You talked about Eddie as a businessman? Why? Why, Ryan? Ryan goes, I feel I am very validated in everything I said based on the way you guys. And Tamara goes, are you fucking kidding me? The way you treated me, Tamara. And Jen goes, hold on. Wait, Ryan, you never talked shit about Eddie as a businessman. And Tamara goes, yeah, he did. And Jen's like, what did he say? He said that people came up to you at our gym and talked shit about Eddie. And Jen goes, no, you've never said that, Ryan. And he said it in a podcast, Jen. And then we hear an echoey voice of Ryan on the podcast saying, when I did hear about Tamra and Eddie, it was nothing positive. And Ryan in this scene goes, no, I never said that. No. And Jen goes, no, he never even told me that. And Tamra's like, yes, you did. And Ryan's like, I did not say that. And Jen goes, he's only done one podcast. We kept him to a 1 podcast rule. And he goes, yeah, I've only done 1 podcast. And I didn't say anything about people speaking. And Jen goes, and I listened to everything on there. And Tamara's like, yeah, you said it, Ryan. He goes, I didn't. And Eddie is just not participating at all. He's just looking ahead now. And Tamara is like, and Ryan goes, I supported your guy's business. I've been a friend to him until he talked shit about me. And Tamara goes, you said nothing. He talked shit about you? And Ryan's like, yeah, he did. And Tamara's like, no, he didn't. Yes, he did. Tamara's like, what did he say? You said you were in my backyard, Eddie, for a barbecue. And you said one of my friends came up to you and said, hey, watch out for Ryan. He goes after married women. Is that what was told to you? And Eddie says, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened, bub. And Ryan goes, it absolutely didn't happen. And Tamara goes, it absolutely happened. And Ryan goes, it didn't. And Eddie goes, yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. No, it didn't. Yeah, it did. No, it didn't. We have a cut to a forlorn Shane just looking like, oh God, thank God that'll never be me. And Eddie's like, it absolutely happened, Ryan. And Eddie goes, why would I make that up? And Tamara's like, absolutely happened. Eddie goes, why would I make that up? Tamara going, 1000%. Ryan, we all know you like to F married women, Tamara says in a talking head. It's the news on the street. We can name a list of them. Oh, by the way, news alert. Jen was married when you fucked her too. Ooh, that's what it is. See, Tamara does it in the scene, but also Tamara will cut even harder in the talking head. It's like boom, boom, boom. Like, oh, remember? You fucked Jen when she was still married. And Ryan in this scene goes, let's just assume that's accurate, which is not. All I know, some dude comes up to me and says, hey, watch out for Joe Blow. he's got a thing for married women. And he's talking about, my chick. I'm sitting down with him that moment and saying, you and I have a problem. So this is maybe where Ryan says Eddie's not a man. Like Eddie should have came to me as a man, as a bro, as a fellow underwear wearer. And Eddie goes, no, because you're not a threat to me, Ryan. No, because you're not a threat to me. You are not a threat to me. He repeats it. And I guarantee you would never have my wife. Matt, a shot of Matt, was just like, fuck. He's like, oh my God, I got to work harder at the Golf Channel. And Ryan goes, but you would think from a man's perspective, you'd come up to me and say, bro, are you saying these disrespectful things about my wife? Bro, you want to hit my wife from the back? Bro, what up, bro? And Ryan's like, for what? Why would I come to you? I got nothing to prove. And Tamra goes, he's not a little bitch. Shane takes a big gulp of whatever he's drinking. And Jen's like, why are you doing this, Tamra? And Tamra goes, because he keeps coming after my husband. And Jen goes, but you went after him. And Tamra goes, I told the truth. That's also the voice modulation too. Tamra will go from a, no, you didn't, to a, yeah, like raise it up high. The range, the vocal range. And so we get a lot of Zoiks looks from a table, like Zoiks, Katie, Zoiks, Shane, Zoiks, Matt, Zoiks. We go to commercial. We come back. And everybody's still just like, why are you doing this? And Tamara's like, come on. I told the truth. I told the truth. And she goes, why does it matter for you? And Tamara's like, he went on a fucking podcast, ripped my husband apart, ripped me apart as a mom. And Ryan goes, I don't think I did, Tamara. And then we flash back to the podcast and we hear a lady going, Tamara, I don't know if she's still talking to her children, but she's also had that. I totally feel like she wants what you guys have because it doesn't seem like she has it in her household. And Ryan in the podcast goes, that's a tough one for me to answer. I don't live under their roof. And the last thing I would want to do is speculate. And back in the scene, Ryan goes, I did not. And Tamara goes, you went after my son, Ryan. And he goes, I didn't go after your son, Ryan. And Tamara goes, what? And he goes, I just reposted a post saying you should stop talking about me. And remember, Ryan was selling those dick pic hats or shirts or whatever, the dick, because remember he had a weird story about sending Jenn Pedranti a dick pic, but he was probably sending it to somebody else. And then there was like a meme that they put up on screen with Tamara's son Ryan. It says the only Ryan whose behavior Tamara should be concerned with, and it's a shot of her son Ryan. And he didn't make this post, but it looks like he reposted it. But I will say now, on further closer inspection, it looks like the dick pic shop made this post. Wait, one thing. Who made this? Sorry, guys. So we got to get to the bottom of this. But, Ryan, even just playing along with the posting and reposting game is, it was the morally corrupt Bravo mess, I think. That's the account. And he's like, no, I didn't go after Ryan. And Tamara's like, oh, do I go after your kids? And Ryan's like, I did not. I said, worry about your own Ryan. Worry about me, Ryan. This is the Ryan you should all be worried about. And Ryan's like, that's it. That's all I did. And Tamara goes, you posted a picture about Ryan's dick pic to compare it to yours. And I was completely confused when Tamara said this. And Ryan's thinking, like Katie has her head on her hand. And Emily's like, are you talking about your son? And Tamara's like, yeah. It was a picture from when he was 18 years old. In a talking head, Tamara goes, 20 years ago, my son, Ryan, he sent a dick pic to a girlfriend. That girl in return sent it to a tabloid. I don't remember this at all. And who was buying Ryan dick? What tabloid is buying? I remember the OC and it was huge, but was that really a thing? Can somebody go in the Wayback Machine and see if that was, anyways, Tamara goes, so he reposted a pic of Ryan and said, you need to worry about your own son. Ryan goes, my social media post had nothing to do with Tamara's son and some dick picture he may or may not have had years ago. This was everything directed at Tamara. I don't even know the guy. Tamara says, it's one thing if you want to say something about me, but when you go attacking my children, she's saying this in a talking head, you're a douche. But yeah, we already knew that. And Tamara in the scene goes, don't talk about my fucking kids. And now we see Matt and Cody, both of their hands are on their head. It's great. Don't talk about my fucking kids. But see, this is the hard thing, right? Like, the kids do get brought into this. We talk about it all the time. They are storylines and there is a danger. So of course it's going to completely set Tamra off. But this is the arena of Housewives. So you could make that argument of like, well, it's a little bit of a taste of your own medicine. It is hurtful, but there have things been bandied about. Like in that interview with Tamra, I said, Aviva Drescher described the Housewives, it's like gladiators with tits. These are people going into that ring and there is residual, like there's just a lot of people that get hurt in the process, like the surrounding people. You see it all the time. And Ryan, especially Tamra's son, has had a lot of issues in the past that I think some have been storylines, some have not. But yeah, it's like one of those things that if I, was Tamra or if I was Ryan, I would not ever want to come back on the show. It would not be worth it to have this kind of microscope on you. But Ryan, Jenn's Ryan, is playing the Housewives game here because Jenn is sweet. Ryan is not. And Ryan's like, I apologize and Tamra goes, if you fucking go after, I will fucking go after you if you go after my kids. And he's like, I didn't go after your kids. I just said, worry about your own Ryan. So if you said worry about, and she's like, that's going after my own kid, you fucking bitch. You're a bitch. They go at my fucking bitch. You're a bitch. And Ryan's like, no, I don't even know you. And Jenn goes, how can you fucking sit there, Eddie? You and I have known each other for so fucking long, Eddie. I've always supported you. I've always fucking supported her. Why did you allow this shit? Another shot of Shane going like, make me a bird, don't far away. And Eddie goes, what? Am I her keeper? Am I Tamra's keeper? No, but this is bullshit. And you know it, Eddie. I've been nothing but good to you. And Tamra goes, maybe my husband's not a little bitch. And Jen's like, neither is mine. And Emily goes, Tamra. And Ryan goes, are you really speaking like this? And Tamra's like, yeah, I am. And Eddie goes, stop. And Ryan goes, wow, at your age, it's not impressive. And Eddie's going, stop, babe, stop. And I think that age thing really like, boom. And Ryan goes, I'm just saying, who speaks like this at an adult dinner table? And then we flash back to Ryan earlier calling Eddie a baby bitch because he wouldn't hug her. Such a clown, baby bitch. And Tamra goes, oh, I know, you're so perfect, Ryan. Well, Ryan goes, well, nobody's speaking about that. And here's the bomb drop. And right as it's coming out of her mouth, we see Eddie leaning into her, trying to pull her to him trying to get her to face him. And she goes, how's the FBI going for you? And now Eddie takes his hand, puts it on her cheek and like puts his face and goes, stop. And now it's like another zoink, intense music playing in the background. And Jenn goes, FBI. And Eddie goes, stop. And Ryan goes, who knows? What? Who knows? And Matt just blinks. Like, Matt, blink twice if you're okay. And Tamra goes, oh, you don't know anything about the FBI, Ryan. And Eddie keeps going, stop. It's not worth it. And Jenn in a talking goes, FBI? What are you talking about, Tamra? Katie in a talking goes, I don't know. I'm not in the mob. I have no idea what this means. Tamra in a talking head goes, I have known for about 6 months that Ryan was raided by the FBI. It was some kind of illegal gambling. And Jenn knows all about it. Emily in a talking head goes, I do know that Ryan and this guy that has been investigated by the FBI go to Vegas a lot. So how much smoke can there be before there actually is a fucking fire? I will say, like, this season has so much. I knew it from the preview, but I just still was like, we've got a whole FBI storyline ahead of us now. And Eddie goes, can you please just stop? And Jenn goes, Eddie, I hate this coming between me and you because I've had a massive respect for you forever, Eddie. And Tamra gets up and goes, I'm done. And Katie goes, oh shit. And Tamra's like, where's my purse? Give me my purse. I'm done. And Eddie doesn't get up. He has like a blanket like wrapped over himself, kind of like Selena Gomez in that one like comfy, cozy Indian blanket shot. And she's like, I'm done. And camera people are inside the house. She's like, where's my purse? She gets her purse. Ryan in a talking head goes, Tamra takes anyone who's happy and tries to railroad them because she's miserable. And then we see Tamra going, let's go. Eddie at the table still goes, it doesn't need to be like this. And then we see Tamra go out of the door and go, is there a car out there? Because I'll go by myself. And then Ryan's talking head goes, her marriage is a sham. Eddie is soft, He's unemployed. When others are doing well and real love is being shown, she can't handle it because it's everything she doesn't have. Tamra and talking goes, I knew that he has done some really shady things in the past, but I don't think anybody in this group is prepared to see who the real Ryan is. This guy's a piece of shit, she says, as she stumbles out of the door and trips and goes, shit, fuck, and then slams the door. And we hear Tamra go, are you fucking kidding me? And then it says, to be continued, ... Oh, you guys, what an episode. How intense was that? Full body chills. I mean, what a mess. And Shannon wasn't even there. This season is so dark. Shannon's in bed with Archie, just eating carrots together. And over there, now we got the FBI involved. Now, let's take what Ryan said at the very end. Do we think that there's that what he's saying holds any weight? Like two things can be true at once. Like we said, this is what I've always, and I've said this on the recaps. I said, I believe that Tamra probably has a pretty decent home life. Like, I don't sense the issues with Eddie and Tamra. Like, they got the Big Bear house, they got the OC house, she's got the success. I mean, it seems like everything is going in Tamra's favor. The only thing that sometimes trips Tamra up is Tamra. So I don't necessarily, and I don't think, I mean, by the way, you guys, that Vina CBD and then Eddie's new company, which he was like, the Vina CBD makes a lot of money. Like I used to make fun of it too. And then I found it actually makes a lot of money. They are doing that podcast. She has like 6 different podcasts. They are not hurting for money. And I don't know, like, it's weird. Like, so does she hate that other people are happy? I think she personalizes things. We see it with that relationship with Shannon, which she is saying that we don't see a lot of that relationship. And that's why she is not talking to Shannon and refuses to go back. I see it there, but this Jenn Ryan thing, but Ryan is in the wrong. Ryan has done some shady things. So is this something that he's saying and tells Jenn? So like Jenn, she's just jealous of what we have. She's jealous of what we have. So let's look at the charges against Ryan so far, if we can find what's going on. Now, this is a Deadline article from May 8th of 2024. And this is when it all went down. It said, Real Housewives of Orange County cast member Ryan Boyajian reportedly caught up in a $16 million theft and gambling scandal surrounding Shohei Ohtani, who is the pitcher for the Dodgers, former interpreter. So it's Ohtani's interpreter. There's a gambling scandal with them. Now, this is what the article, it says, ESPN, citing multiple sources, reported that Boyajian Ryan is the bookmaker's associate to whom interpreter Ippei Mizuhara wired money to pay his gambling debts. So saying that Boyajian is the bookmaker. So the interpreter was wiring money to Ryan to pay the gambling debts. And I believe the interpreter was blaming it on Ohtani, but it wasn't Ohtani. The interpreter was stealing Ohtani's money, allegedly. So Mizuhara today agreed to plead guilty to 2 federal charges related to the theft of nearly $17 million from the Dodger slugger's bank account. Maybe Ohtani's not a pitcher. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a sports guy. Prosecutors say Mizuhara used that money to pay off illegal gambling debts. Ippei Mizuhara could face more than 30 years in federal prison under the plea deal, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Now, before I get through the rest of this article, what I would assume, if he's participating in this, they're going after then somebody else. Is that person Ryan? Per ESPN, Mizuhara's illegal bookmaker told the interpreter he could pay his gambling debts by wiring money to associate one. That, according to ESPN, is Boyajian. So that's Ryan. So said the illegal bookmaker told the interpreter he could pay the gambling debts by wiring money to associate one. So it's like funneling this money. A statement from the Office of the United States Attorney Martin Estrada contends Mizuhara regularly logged into Ohtani's bank account and initiated wire transfers from the account to the bookmaker and his associates as payments for gambling debts. For example, on June 20, 2023, Mizuhara accessed the account without Ohtani's permission and transferred $500,000 to one of the bookmaker's associates. Boyajian's lawyer told ESPN, because this is an active investigation and Ryan is working with the authorities, he can't confirm or deny what is going on. He is not a bookmaker or a sub-bookie. Boyajian and the alleged illegal bookmaker in question, Matthew Boyer, reportedly laundered Mizuhara's payments through marker accounts at casinos. And that's where Emily's saying they go to Vegas all the time. That's where this would come into play. After depositing the payments, Boyajian and Boyer then withdrew the chips from the marker accounts, gambled with them, and if they won, cashed out. So it's like, in a sense, this weird kind of laundering of the money. So this article was in late May. Wow. I'm trying to see if there's been new articles. Here's an article from August 2nd, 2024 from Reality T of how does Jennifer Pedranti's fiance Ryan Boyajian earn a living? And let's see here. It says, according to LinkedIn, Ryan is the vice president of operations at Boyajian Brokerage. Wait, how is it your own brokerage and you're only the vice president? Wouldn't you be the president? As a graduate of Florida State University, he lives up to the party boy character, while at his brokerage, Ryan notes that he worked on behalf of his clients to increase the sales volumes. The OC resident helped, quote, food and beverage manufacturers to expand and promote sales. To Ryan has worked with the likes of American Beverage Company, Asiago Porcino, Coto Olive Company, and Polio Authentic Italian Cheeses. A lot of Italian things in there. Before essentially working for himself, he worked at Double Eagle Distributing, Inc. for 4 years. He was an on-premise sales representative and actively managed 160 accounts for beverage distribution. The company claims it runs its business on the values of Anheuser-Busch codes of excellence. Quote, somebody still cares about quality, and quote, making friends is our business. The only thing that seems to be missing is the famed Clydesdale horses. Before this, Ryan was a golf pro. Okay, so Ryan's done a lot of different things. That is Ryan's job history. And I'm curious, since he is participating with the authorities, what that means. That means for a lesser jail sentence or restitution, and when we're going to find out more. When is this court case going to actually happen? This is wild, really crazy. Now, on to, I couldn't read this full thing to Tamra. Tamra said she did see it, but Jen Pedranti kind of came out swinging too. And yeah, you would expect this from somebody that feels like they're being attacked by Tamra right now. Let me find it. Here's a picture of me sick. Selfie while I was sick. There's Jackie Schimmel. God, my camera roll is just a mess of the worst things that you could possibly ever want on a camera roll. 1 second. I'm going to pause. Okay, here's one of them. Jennifer Pedranti on this Instagram account says, all about TRH podcast. Can we please link the podcast from last year? She's talking about the podcast with Ryan. This woman for an entire year drug my man's name through the mud. This is talking about Tamra. Remember before cameras went up, she never had one problem with Ryan. Hashtag needs a storyline. I always hate when people hashtag things like that. She has over 1 million followers and her own podcast and trashed Ryan regularly. He went on one podcast and spoke his truth. How ironic that she trash talks people on the regular. And if one person says anything back, it's crocodile's tears or a drunk slurring of her words. Throws in the drunk word. Eddie tried to stop her several times. And after she stumbled out of Katie's home, yelling false statements, all in capital letters, the guys had a very civilized conversation. We just had to take the trash out so that could happen. So this is to be continued. So we will see more of that conversation next week, and says it was a very civil conversation. But now FBI is involved. But this is, this is standard Tamra operating procedure. And Jenn knows this. And I'm curious, even though Tamra and Emily says they were very aware of it, was Jenn aware of it, or was it hidden from Jenn? Because was Jenn at the house when it was raided? What is Jenn's awareness level? Is Jenn being completely honest in that moment where she's like, what FBI? Does everybody know about this besides Jenn? That's another huge question. I would love to talk to Jenn Pedranti. She then, Jenn Pedranti, in an Instagram post, talked about Tamra on Watch What Happens live last night and played this clip.
We sell more than what you stole from the Dodger player.
It's talking about Vina CBD. We sell more in a month than what you stole from the Dodgers player. Tamra said on Watch What Happens live last night. And Jenn put this clip up and says she should have rehearsed that one more time. And then did the emoji, better luck next time. Wild. And I don't know, obviously this Ryan is into some bad business stuff. obviously Tamra, man, I mean, Jenn does seem like a genuinely sweet person, and I do get nervous for her. What do we think, you guys? I'm at a loss. I'm feverish. I don't feel well. Like, help me out here, you guys? Where do we go from here? And how do we get Shannon? And Alexis wasn't even in this episode. We don't even have a preview for next week. Oh, we're close to the end of the season. We are. We're close. We're almost there. We just got a couple more episodes and the reunion, which they've got to be filming in the next 2 weeks. And Tamra said she's going in guns blazing. And I'm like, that is the wrong. Like, wouldn't it be more powerful for Tamra to go totally against the grain of what she usually does if she just is cool, calm, collected, speaks matter-of-factly, and never raises her voice? Like, what if she went in there? That would intimidate them so much more than the regular Tamra thing. But we still have to then this Shannon Tamra of it all. Like, I am so team Shannon in this situation. And I think Shannon really has done so much better this season than I thought she would. And in that interview, I was just like, hey, come on, there's got to be a way that we can mend all these fences. But I don't know. It's the Housewives. The Housewives, baby. It's Chinatown, Jake. Man. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. Sorry. I know I keep bringing up that Tamra interview, but I keep getting like alerts on my phone of people commenting and stuff. And I will say, it was somebody was like, "Oh, you seem like pretty okay and confident and, okay." And 2 reasons for that. And I find it's like, because I've watched Tamra on television for so many years. So in a way, I feel like I already knew her. So like when I saw her, it wasn't even a shock. Like it was very like, "Oh, it's Tamra." "Oh my God, it's Tamra." So that was what was kind of going through my mind. It actually put me at ease because I've watched her in so many years and so many seasons. And the other thing is, the credit to Tamra is that she knows how to talk. She knows at a podcast, she takes that ball and she runs with it. So those 2 things, but it is interesting. I think you guys might be a little bit like that too, is like, if you saw one of these people, you would feel like you kind of knew them because you've been watching them on TV. But the other thing is they don't know me. So that was, trying to be like nice. It's like, that was nice of her to be that open, not knowing me from Adam, when I've seen hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of things about her. But Team Shannon Beador, I love her. I love her. I love her. And that's it for this week, you guys. Come back on Monday. We have a pop culture roundup with Sophie. I'm going to go watch my Love After Lockup, and we have a Great British Bake Off shows back on Netflix. So a big night of TV ahead of me, and just resting and trying to make heads or tails of this week. I hope you guys have the best weekend ever. What do we always say? Drink something good, eat something great, tell people you love them, go hang out with your friends or spend some time by yourself, work out if you feel like it, maybe go on a walk, read a book, watch a TV show that's not a reality show, listen to your favorite jam of all time, dance like no one's watching or dance like everybody's watching. But whatever, come back on Monday. We'll have a Patreon episode this weekend. Hello, baddies. And that's it. I don't want to leave you guys. I like when that's why these go so long. It's like, I don't want to leave. I feel comfortable. Like, it's once I hit in recording, that's when I do, like that's when I feel like you're like, ugh. That's why I always keep these going so long, I think. Anyways, have a great weekend, you guys. Bye.